Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV Podcast 575. Bringing in all the action. I'm back in Wisconsin.
That's it. The season's over. The final playoff event, right? We're done. That's the end?
No, I have some wild card updates, actually, for you guys.
Oh, wild card updates.
Yeah, because I don't know if you heard enough about them this weekend or last. But
did I get in? That's what I need to know. Did I
probably. At one point, you were probably also in contention for the wild card. We'll talk about that a little bit more later.
I went for it on 17. I think that knocked me out.
Yeah, that might
and not playing the rest of the holes really hurt me.
That might have finally taken you out. But otherwise, you were right there in that wild card conversation.
Good. You should next time just throw my name in there, like
see who notices.
To see if anyone knows. Like, oh yeah,
Johnny V. Just 4 strokes out of the wild card.
Early in the day, so like nobody realizes. Like, oh yeah, we got so and so, and then Johnny V in there as well. And
wild card contender. There's more to that story, and we again we'll talk about it a little bit later because we cannot wait any longer.
Oh.
Because our champion from this weekend, the MVP Open by OTB.
The hottest player in disc golf right now.
Yeah, and he's scoring good on the course.
Terry Miller.
We're going to welcome in the champ, Cole Redalen. Yeah, buddy. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you guys for having me on the show. That's exciting.
Who is having a better life in disc golf than you right now? I mean, who's doing it better?
I mean, Ganon and I technically tied over the last 2 events, so I mean, it's about the same right now. But hey, if I would have just made my birdie putt on 18, it could have been a different story, I guess, over the last 8 rounds of disc golf. But no, honestly, it's been amazing, and it just filled with gratefulness right now for just being where I am in comparison to what the rest of the years looked like.
So I mean, what is it? Since Ledgestone, you have been rock solid, playing some of the hottest disc golf we've seen. What switch flipped? What did you find? Are suddenly did are you healthy? You found the fountain of youth. What happened at Ledgestone that now suddenly your game has 180'd, it feels like, going back to where you were, I would say 2.5 years ago, where you were known as one of those guys that was going to be up and coming. You and Gavin Rathbun and at the time, Ganon Buhr, like all those names were thrown together, but then you kind of faded a little bit due to some injuries. So what happened recently?
Yeah, so that faded with injury is definitely part of it. I feel like I got hit with the injury pretty hard, and honestly, even before the injury happened in 2024, I was having a rough spur of tournaments. So I really think it's just, continuing to be a student of the game. I mean, yeah, I feel like I was at the top of my game at one point in 2023 and feeling pretty solid on the course, but sometimes getting somewhere isn't always the best version of yourself anyway. It's like, yeah, I won a tournament. Yeah, I was playing really well. And I was playing good rounds of disc golf, but the consistency side of things is also extremely important. I feel like I'm definitely starting to tap into that side of things. I feel like I was one of those players that would pop off and then have a rough next weekend. And I think part of being a student of the game is continuing to look at why that is the case. Why can I pop off and why can I fall off the next week? And for me, that was finding inconsistencies in the mechanical side of my game as well. It wasn't just the mental thing. I'm like, I know I'm a good mental golfer. I know I have a good headspace out there on the course. So what is so different? And yeah, I just think it's, maximizing it's more so eliminating the errors in the mechanical side of the game. A lot of these players on tour, they have really good technique, but I think it can always be refined. It can always get a little bit better. You can always make slight adjustments that can only elevate the consistency of your game. They might keep you at the same skill level that you are, but you'll actually raise your floor of how bad you play because of the slight minor adjustments that you make. So for me, since Idlewild, I've been throwing power grip for all my distance drivers.
Oh, wow.
Distance drivers, fairway drivers, and mid ranges. Whereas before that, I threw fan grip for everything, like 14 speeds all the way down to a 4-speed. I was throwing a fan grip. It was a 2-finger power and 2-finger fan. So yeah, I feel like it was just kind of also just looking at the top of the game consistently, like what are they doing with their form and what are they doing with their grip, and just trying to tap into that myself.
When you look at those things specifically in terms of the grip, did you feel I'll say a bigger difference in terms of when you were throwing putters versus drivers, or where were you less consistent, I guess is the better question.
Definitely the distance driver side of thing. I mean, I feel like I've always had a really good, putter slow game. I think that really shined through at Ledgestone in 23 when I took that one down, just throwing putters and mids throughout Northwoods and Eureka. Um, but the driver game has always struggled for me, and especially hitting your angles. I think hitting your angles is one of the most important things you can do out there on the course because if you miss your angle, you can actually end up way further away than you would be if you just miss your line. If you just miss your line, you could get lucky. You can get through get some good breaks. But if you miss your angle, that disc is going to be moving in a direction you really don't want it to be. So that's something I focus on. Like, what can I do about that grip to maximize hitting my angles more consistently? Which that was the power grip. Whereas the fan grip, when you only have two fingers wrapped around the underside of that rim and two fanned, there's a little bit of variables I feel like there that your fingers can do underneath that disc. So yeah, I think it's just hitting my angles a lot more has been a lot easier, and locking in those drivers for sure.
Uh, do you, this might sound like a weird question. It's not meant to be weird. Do you have small, medium, large size hands? And then did you check with anyone else in terms of, hey, here's what works for this guy. Here's, obviously you're good friends with Ganon. You got a ton of people that you hang out with. Was there anyone you were comparing with? And I guess for everyone at home, like, yeah, what's your hand size?
Yeah, I think it's pretty average. I don't feel like I have super big hands. I mean, in comparison to Ganon, I mean, he's got like a whole other section on me up here. Like, it's ridiculous.
He's got four knuckles. People don't realize that. It's really weird.
It's I can't even describe it. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, if you can just palm any single disc just like this, no problem. I mean, you just have so much control. Anyway, that's besides the point. I feel like I've been having a lot of really good conversations with him just over the last 5 years. I mean, this is my fifth year of touring, and we've been friends that whole time. And so, he and I both love breaking down form and talking shop. And so just kind of looking at what he's doing and also just watching how the disc is coming off of his hand and some of my other friends' hands as well. I mean, Luke Taylor, watching him throw, I mean, he throws power grip for all of his distance drivers, and just like not really comparing openly with them, but just kind of like obviously observing what they're doing and just being like, you know what, the driver is coming off of their hand a lot cleaner. One part of inspiration for me was Silas Schultz. I mean, he snaps those drivers really well with a power grip. I watched him throw a 9 down at Northwood Black at Ledgestone, and I was like, man, if I could just line up and smack a fairway driver down that fairway, like I'm here trying to smooth a mid range because I'm trying to play it nice and slow through the middle, but he's just smacking that fairway and it's right down the middle. And I'm like, I don't think I could do that with a fan grip. I don't think I could do that. So, yeah, I think it's just, observing those guys, especially mid tournament, mid practice round, like whenever it is, and admiring the way the disc is coming off of their hand and being like, man, if I could tap into that, I think mentally I could lock in with it a little bit better.
And I know this, it sounds like you had your own way of getting there, but at any point, have you analyzed any data or used anything from like a tech disc or a game proofer or any one of those things that maybe talks about your spin and, just some of those details especially when you're comparing to your friends? Did you ever use anything like that?
No, 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 not really. I've always tried to break down the game into two separate ways. I felt like you could have a really explosive throw, and that would kind of make you want to have like a fan grip, so you don't pull everything and just like, if you're holding onto it with a power grip, you don't want to, torque stuff over. But if you have like more of a controlled throw, then you're probably going to want that power grip to get a little extra snap at the release of the thing. So, I've always tried to break down the game in that way. And I'm like, oh, I'm just a powerful player with a controlled grip. I've always just seen myself as that way. I'm like, that's just the way that I throw the disc. That's how I do it personally. And I'm like, and just thinking about it a little bit more, I'm just like, but it's not as consistent as some of these other guys. And I'm also thinking about my hip issue too, and just being, going through that, I mean, like I was dealing with pain through Ledgestone. So like back to what you asked first, like, what kind of changed was like I stopped feeling pain mid for tournament rounds, like at Idlewild. That's literally probably my first fully pain-free tournament, and for a long time. And so I think also what contributed to that was switching to the power grip allowed me to be more steady and controlled with my throw. So then I slowed down the body and allowed my grip to snap the disc a little bit more, which I think allowed me to keep some of the distance that I wanted, but also take a little bit more strain off of the body. And then with that feeling so much better too, just all coming hand in hand is just allowing me to view the game in a completely different way.
One of the things that really I honed in on this weekend was you throwing hole 4, the shortest hole out there, 256 feet or 46 feet downhill. That
smoothing a putter just right down the center.
But then when I compare that, I think about some of your Instagram videos that I've seen where you love to you throw a putter 200 feet, goes in, and that's kind of your walk-off throw-in shot, which are a lot of fun to watch. How much time are you spending on that approach, that smooth throw, but that approach, putter shot? Like, do you spend more time on that than any other aspect of your game?
Yeah, I think that boils down to me just being my favorite part of the game. So like when I and even being injured, honestly, that's kind of where I found my love for the game, was throwing smooth, slow putters like that. So like when your body can't act at full force, you're just like, well, I still want to throw some. And there's no better feeling than throwing it in from 200 feet. I don't care if it's your 100th try. It just looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as much as I'm here talking about power grip and everything, I think that's more for the drivers and mid ranges side of the game. But I'm still hanging with my fan grip and my putters, and it's always been, and like pre-injury too. It's just always been my favorite part of the game. Is just smoothing a putter nice and flat and snapping it more with the wrist rather than the body, and have ultimate control over the angles and the nose angles and slowing that thing down. And I just have a ton of fun with it. Yeah, 100%.
When it comes to your throwing style, I'm not saying who you're trying to emulate. Who do you think your style is most closely looks like? Like if they were to, block out, I know Anthem Disc Golf, I think it is, has been doing that lately, where he's, coming up with forms. But is there anyone whose form that you're like, yeah, I could see if somebody thought our two forms were similar? Is there anyone?
Well, I started out trying to copy Macbeth.
Okay.
I mean, who doesn't when they start out playing disc golf? Then I realized I was a little bit taller than him, so then I actually went to copy somebody even shorter than Paul. Sorry, respectfully, Drew Gibson.
Sure.
So I went and started copying his form, and I'm just like, that's actually silly. So not because he has bad form, just because of the comparison. But anyway, I started copying Drew's form. I liked the way he snapped the disc. And then I was just like, well, why do you have to bring it so, windy up and around? Like, why don't you just, kind of start from your stomach and then just drop your arm behind you? And then I think it just kind of turned into my own. So honestly, right now, I've gotten to where I am copying Drew and Macbeth, but right now I honestly kind of think it's my own style, and I continue to work on it too. I think I round a little bit more than I want to, and I have these little insecurities in my own head that I want to continue to fix. But for right now, I definitely think it's more of my own. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on who it looks like.
Well, I was just thinking, one of the questions I'm sure everybody wants to know, you switched from a fan to a power grip for your drives. Did you gain any distance? And I understand at your level, you're not looking for, you're not going from 520 to 540 feet, like, yeah, awesome fan grip versus power grip. But did you gain any distance? Because I think that's a lot of what, amateurs are looking for at this point.
I don't think I gained any distance. I think I just get that distance easier.
Okay.
So, I mean, at the 2021 World's Distance Competition, I threw 654 feet. I took fourth, that was a fan grip shot. But I was just, 15, just absolutely smacking that thing with everything that I had. I was a rubber band as a kid, so and I'm 21 now. I'm still pretty young, but going through this injury and everything, I just want that same power with a little bit less effort. So I think just, yeah, again, maximizing what that disc can do out of your hand while hitting it with the right amount of spin. The angle is extremely important, so keeping that disc nose down. So I think with the power grip, it has allowed me to get more distance easier, but not really any more than I had before.
Okay.
Someone just said it on the board, and it was already a question in my head, which is, I think I even said it on the air this weekend. Watching you throw, in a sense of, like I said about Ganon, you look so effortless. I mean, to the point where it's almost annoying
for all of the other people.
Because you just said, like Silas Schultz. Silas has these incredible mechanics and gets great distance and does all these things so well, but it looks like he's ripping a disc. And when you throw, especially, I feel like your putts, which obviously are much lesser distance, but when you throw, it's like you're throwing clouds around. Like there's just nothing there, and like I don't know if I have a question in there, but do you notice that? Do you know that? Do you realize how you look in that sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's funny too when I watch back the throw. I'm like, yeah, no, that looks like I'm literally not doing anything. But when I'm on D-pad, I definitely am throwing the disc. I promise you, I am putting effort into those shots. But yeah, I think it's just maybe the explosiveness comes from kind of that last second pull through more so than the aggressive, into it. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I just focus on the last 5% of the throw
Mm.
rather than kind of the first like 95% of it. So I'm really only focusing on snapping that disc where I want it. And so that's why I think I have like a walk up, almost like a walk up to my throws, because I'm like, all I'm thinking about is timing my hips and my shoulders because that's where all of my power is coming through. I don't want to feel like I'm wrenching on it with my arm. So as long as I can time these two things, I don't need a 35-foot long run up to get the explosiveness that I need. All I need is the rotation to be working together and making sure that, that disc is leaving my hand exactly where I want it. So, yeah, I think it's just kind of my mentality towards when the disc is leaving my hand, where the disc is leaving my hand, and what I need to mentally do to prepare myself to get that disc there. And for me, that's just taking it a little bit slower.
Yeah, you should try and throw it hard once and then see what happens. Just kidding. No, so this is kind of maybe a funny question then. It's along that line. Uh, at what point on this course, especially with how wooded it is, at what point on this course are you fully throwing 100% power? We'll say on a tee shot, what hole or holes are you throwing like 100% power as hard as you could throw it?
I mean, which holes would I, or
Yeah, or
which
did
holes
you?
did I?
Do you? Yeah.
Did
Is
I?
it,
Yeah. So, I think the only time I tried to really smack it was hole one when we played the par four.
okay.
Um, Hole 11, I wanted to so bad that third round. Gannon put his drive almost to the FPO basket, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just like looking at the crowd. I was just like, I want to, but I can't do this. Like I have to stick to the game plan. So I mean, I had to be proud of myself for doing what I practiced. But no, I mean, I just don't like throwing 100%. I don't like it. Just I feel like there's no reason to. I mean, the holes play for placement that where you can throw two great shots and get a birdie. So why not play it for two great shots and get a birdie? Like, why would I try to push it another 150 feet just to look cool? Well, I'd rather get a birdie, respectfully. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think hole one, the final round, I was definitely like, all right, I got a nuke. The wind is feeling pretty good. I'm gonna try to put it out there, and I just turned it over so bad. I think it was probably a slight headwind, but it just took off to the right, and I'm like, I think it's a headwind, boys, and they're like, yeah, I think so too. And then Gannon sailed his way left, and we're like, well, we don't know anymore. So we said, see you
Yeah.
at the basket.
Yeah, I was gonna say we talk about wind dummies and having that disadvantage potentially, but then when Gannon throws it the other way, that maybe even almost is doing a significant disservice to the other two guys that still have to throw, and confusing them even more, which I love. uh, Clearly, such an incredible weekend that is very special, and we hear a lot specifically from like a Casey White who has his roots there, Paul Kranz, out of the area, so on and so forth. Is there any one event, you've won Ledgestone, but is there any one event that feels that much more significant than another in terms of our non-majors, we'll say?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said this one probably wasn't the biggest one that's not a major. I mean, it's a It's a year. It's worth more points than an Elite Plus or an Elite Series. I think maybe it's
Hmm.
the same as an Elite Plus, but I mean it's the playoffs. So yeah, I honestly in the moment I'm definitely not thinking about that. Like when you're in the round, like you're not really thinking about which tournament you're playing. I was just focused on beating the players around me. Um, but yeah, right now I'm obviously this one in my career for sure. I think it's a lot to myself personally what I can do kind of in a pressurized situation. Because Ledgestone, I just kind of stayed in front of everybody, but here I was able to lock in stroke for stroke to the last hole. But yeah, no, I wasn't really thinking too much, and it's definitely going to be the top of my list for a while. And to be completely honest, I didn't think Maple Hill would be a course that I won at, for a long time, if not ever, because I'm just not. It's not my favorite course in the world. But yeah, I like throwing the shot. I still throw the shots pretty well there. So yep.
And so as you just said, maybe not your favorite course. Then I rewind the last actually two events. I'll rewind to, of course, half the GMC was played out at Brewster Ridge, and then Idlewild before that. And it's definitely known as more technical. Would you say just in general, technical? You took third, and then first. Would you say just in general, technical isn't necessarily your favorite style, or is it just Maple Hill specifically, that course isn't your style?
I think definitely more Maple Hill specifically. Yeah, Maple Hill for drivers being thrown harder than comfortable through trees.
Okay.
Whereas I felt like Brewster Ridge, I could kind of smooth a fairway driver or a mid range on most of those holes. Brewster Ridge is actually like my favorite course on tour. I just love playing that track so much. I think it's a ton of fun. And yeah, Idlewild, again, Idlewild's also not really one of my favorites. It's again, slow speed shots, slow speed discs. So I feel like I was saying, that kind of slower run up to more of a intentional release really helps me in the woods. So I think just kind of home for 3 weeks and then going out to GMC, playing well on Brewster, learning the power grip with my drivers. I think all of that kind of compiled into playing well at Maple Hill through those trees. But yeah, throwing distance drivers through trees, it's just like anxiety. It's just anxiety. I mean, it's just so hard to do that. So yeah, it makes it a little extra sweet that I was able to do that really well at Maple Hill because it is very intimidating.
Yeah, and I think to the list of champions that we've seen there, and we talk about that often when we refer to Idlewild, that Macbeth was the first to ever get his second, to be a repeat there, and there's some older history that involved Maple Hill before we saw the present day talent and skill level. But the long and short of it, it's very difficult to win out there, and we see different winners almost every single year. You're added to a pretty elite class. Have you reflected on that as to who's won at that course and what that really means?
Um, no, I haven't. It's really think about for sure. I mean, and honestly, it hasn't. I don't even really feel like it's sunk in yet. It's just I just feel like I've been kind of going through the motions of the last couple of days and just, just a big old outpour on social media. I just haven't been able to keep up with, everything going on there. But so it's been really cool, but it's also just like, whoa, like I went from being injured and like feeling terrible about myself all season to like now third first, and like my whole life is just kind of taking a 180. So yeah, I haven't really reflected too much on that, and I think at the end of the day too, it's just the cool part of the journey, because like yeah, I can sit back and reflect on those prestige list of winners, but I think it's just like we're all out here trying to accomplish the same goal, and I'm just so grateful that it happened to be the MVP Open, which is such an elite class of players to play well there. And I just think that kind of makes the win a little bit sweeter, but it doesn't, it's not necessarily something I was chasing, was to be on that elite list. It was
Sure.
just kind of like I'm out here to win the tournament, and that's just a cool little side thing. But yeah, no, I haven't thought about it too much, so thanks for bringing that up. That's pretty cool.
Uh,
I was gonna say I'm really glad you weren't added to the other exclusive list out there, which is losing on hole 18. We have seen some of the best players in the world lose it on that hole. and you set yourself up for it. You were there. A lot of people questioned you going for the green. I did. Terry did. Nate Doss did. The whole broadcast did. We've all seen it happen. The person who gets just a little too greedy on 18 and ends up just making that slight mistake, going a little deep, pulling it a little left, catching with a last rock. You had the opportunity to play a backhand, play a chip forehand, to get up and down for a par, probably. Worst case, a bogey, and go into a playoff. Yet you went for it on 18. Walk us through that decision, honestly, because to this day, I was thinking about it today in the car, and I'm like, why would he do that? That makes no sense to me. Didn't he practice the short shot?
Oh man, that's so funny. I can't stop smiling when everybody talks about it because I'm just like, I don't it's like I don't feel like an idiot, but with everybody talking about it in such a confused way, I'm like, maybe I should have played it up, but it's just no, it's uh, it, the thought process was it was just like the first round, I was out of position. I laid up and I had that short little upshot. I threw um I threw a forehand with my DJA blast and I actually boosted it and it hit a branch. It was, I mean, Max sitting in the stands, he was like, dude, your disc was going to fall in my lap if it didn't hit that branch. I'm like, I know. And so like I still missed the putt. I doinked like a 20-footer on that first day for par on the last hole, and ended up bogeying. And thinking about it coming down the stretch too, I was just like, the second day I missed the island and ended up taking. I was already facing some demons, and then that third shot from nearly out of position on the third round, I was nearly barely out of position. It was just a very far shot. Um, Again, watching your competitors is very helpful. So on that third round too, or on that second round when I missed the island, I looked at what Ganon did, and he released his disc out of his hand with a hyzer. Where I feel like a lot of players who try to run that green, they like to push it flat and then let it fade in. And so what Gannon did was he put it on hyzer out left and high. And a lot of these players try to go low and flat and then let it just kind of dump into that green. And it's super easy to push that shot long. So what I did that third round was I said, all right, I'm just going to snap it higher with hyzer and it should break just in time. And sure enough, it did. I was a lot further back down on the hill, but as long as I knew it, I knew as long as I snapped it on hyzer exactly where I wanted it, it was going to be fine. So going into that fourth day, I was just like, well, I know how to execute that upshot. Like I know the shot, what it takes to get there. I just want to make sure you guys didn't lose me.
Yeah.
You're good. You're great.
Okay, we're still good. Okay.
You
Okay.
just have us
Yeah, I'm literally listening.
We're on the edge of
I'm
our
listening.
seat,
I'm like,
Yeah.
God, let's.
trying to hear your explanation.
Yeah.
So continue,
Yeah.
please.
So, yeah. So I knew the shot of what it took on the green. So there was a part of me that was just like, I had a bad experience laying up. I know what it takes to get on that green. I'm in perfect position. I don't want to have to lay up and then try to play this cute little tuck forehand or like little touchy backhand, which I know I'm good with, but like it doesn't matter. That's a tiny green and there's trees right there on the edge waiting for you to hit them. And I said, I know the shot, I know the release, I have the disc for it, and it's the nail in the coffin. I make the island, I win the tournament. I can just pitch it under the basket, call it a day. So it was just kind of like you gotta believe in yourself. 100%. You gotta believe in yourself. And I also knew it too. I'm like, if you do make this mistake, you're gonna make it long. I knew I wasn't gonna leave that thing short. Like I was pumped of adrenaline. I mean, who's really gonna leave that short unless you're just super scared? I knew I wasn't scared. I was just like, I'm hammering this thing and it's gonna go on or it's gonna go long. And I knew if it went long, I would have still had a drop zone putt. I still would have had the drop zone putt to win the tournament. And Proctor, of course, made that putt to win the year before. So the drop zone putt didn't really scare me too much. And I said, worst case, if I miss long and I miss the drop zone putt, I go into a playoff. I still have a chance to win the tournament. So there was a part of me that was just like, all right, let's just seal the deal right here. Let's just throw it. I told myself on the tee of 18, I said 2 more shots, and in the tournament's yours. 2 more shots. Piped to the forehand off the tee. I was in perfect position. Like perfect. 1 more shot. Tournament's yours. 1 more shot. And yeah, just locked in, threw it on the green, and that was the game.
and then you laid up.
And that, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's no. I like.
There were so many people like,
do not make me make a 30-footer.
I'm like, the dude just went for like a 300+ foot hyzer onto a postage stamp, and then he pitches up from 25 feet. And I get it. It's, it's nice to be the last putt. You don't want to, pressure it, hit the side and kind of roll 15 feet away and then give yourself a knee knocker or something. But it was just a funny set of circumstances where you took one of the most difficult shots in disc golf, and then you laid up one of the easiest shots in disc golf. So I appreciate that. The irony.
I love the layup. That at that point still made sense. I get that. I guess there is so much, and in myself screaming in the booth, and everyone else that's has said something to you. We're maybe in a less optimistic way, just saying if you miss that and you don't connect from the drop zone and you lose the tournament, the entire disc golf world is calling you the biggest idiot on the planet, right? Like, why didn't he lay it up? And woulda, coulda, shoulda, nuts and butts, and all the other little cliches you could throw out there. So you stuck it. That's what mattered. But everyone's also saying, had it not gone down the way it did, we would have pointed to the moment and be like, yeah, here's where he gave it away. So kudos to you. Your logic sounds so great, so much better because you executed, right? Like, and I love it. And I'm not, it was just tough for the rest of the world to swallow. You had more confidence than everyone else out there. And that's all that matters. At the end of the day, you're the one throwing the Frisbees and we're sitting in our seats watching you. So kudos to you. I would hate to hear and see the criticisms had you not stuck it, had you not gone on to make a putt, had you not won. The criticisms seem like they would have seemed fitting at that point. But
yeah,
none of that matters.
I would have hated to hear the criticisms of me laying up and then messing up that 130-foot approach into the basket as well. So I mean, there's like,
that's fair.
And like I said too, like even if I missed the drop zone putt, I was still going to a playoff. So I knew that I was going to have an opportunity anyway after that. So it's like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just like, I felt so comfortable knowing that if I did miss, it wasn't over. It wasn't completely over, and it wasn't it's like, I can still go win this again on the 18th green after this hole if I have to.
Yes.
Technically, you would have had to win it on the first green because I think it was a combined playoff of 18 and 1.
You would have. It was 1 and then 18.
Oh, it's 1 and then 18.
It was aggregate.
I thought it was 18-1 aggregate.
Oh,
no,
okay.
It was 1-18.
You in theory,
well,
again, none of this matters, but you would have played 1, and then you would have played 18. They would have added up the scores. If it was still tied, then it goes to sudden death on 1.
You didn't need to worry about that.
Yeah. You don't need extra holes.
It's been a lot of years.
I didn't know. I mean,
you didn't need to know. It's been many years since I've been out to Maple Hill, and so maybe you can answer this question about hole 18. Like you said, that little chip shot, that chip forehand shot that is very easy to mess up. Why don't more players, like from where your position was, play a hyzer, a righty backhand hyzer around the tree, and play more to the left to give yourself a better angle at that straight angle at that green? It feels like it would
open about off the tee shot.
No, on your second shot. So your first shot is up there. You play just past the pine tree off to the left. I think we saw Silva Saarinen kind of over that direction. I feel like it opens up the green more for a backhand shot. If you're closer to the sap house up to the left is what I'm thinking. I'm just curious, and obviously I don't throw a forehand, so I'm looking, in my mind, I'm always thinking, how can I avoid a forehand? So this is where I am. But yeah, I always wonder if maybe it's just not the angle that it used to be because of now the tents are there and things like that. But because I see so many people play it straight and then have that funny angle versus trying to play it off to the left.
It just doesn't seem like players care, right?
No,
I mean,
you guys, they can all throw forehands. They can all dump it up there, which is why I don't think they care.
I mean, I completely agree with you though. Like, that having that left angle is so much better. I mean, even off the tee, Ganon was playing it left with the forehand as best as he could, so he could swing it left of that tree on that layup zone, going into the green. So it definitely opens up the angle. And I'll just touch on this too. When I went for it on the 18th green in the final round, that disc did come out flat out of my hand. So I'm talking about snapping it on hyzer, right? It did come out pretty flat. However, it was a more overstable disc than I threw the day before, and I had that tree on my left. So I did have to I did have to play it a little bit flatter, but I knew the disc had the integrity to go right when I needed it to. But yeah, I think definitely playing for that left side is really crucial. But when laying up, you can't. It's hard to lay up past that tree and short of the OB line. That's a really skinny
Okay, that's
line.
why.
So like as soon as you lay up there, you're either stuck under the tree or you're out of bounds behind it. Like it's just too thin of an area.
Okay, that explains it because the last time I was there was, I think, a lot more space up to the sap house.
So much more space in years past.
Yeah, and now
Yeah,
if
because they built a new deck and extended things.
Exactly.
And,
So if they shallowed that out quite a bit, I can understand why there's not an easier dump out there for a better angle. So that does make a lot more sense from my viewing perspective, not knowing, because I didn't see hardly anybody go over there. So I was really questioning what the deal was. Would your decision have changed at all if Ganon missed the island? Or would it not have mattered then? And you were like, I can go for it too.
It could have. It could have.
Okay.
I mean, that being said, Bogey would have won me the tournament anyway.
Yeah.
So I think just it might have been of like I might have purposely gone OB past the green so I could just go to the drop zone and pitch it up under the basket from there. But yeah, I mean, I knew it was like I did play out that scenario in my head, but right before, because obviously, I was like, he's probably gonna stick this, but on the off chance something crazy happens, no, he stuck it, and so I knew what I needed to do. But I was probably gonna lay up if he didn't make it, because then I would have secured an inbounds throw on the second one.
Yeah, he birdied it every single round, which is why it was just like it felt inevitable.
Well,
on that one.
And this way too, like it's easier actually to lay up to the island for like a 30-footer if you play the layup. So like if I threw my drive and then laid up, it's actually pretty easy to lay up to on the island. It's when you try to get it right to the basket around that corner, that's the tricky part of that third shot. So that too, of like if I laid up in the final round and then played that second layup, I would have been risking more trees on the right to try to get it parked for the win. Or I could have easily put it to 25 and still left myself with a 25-footer for the win. If I missed a 25-footer for the win, I look like the biggest choker of all time too. So then again, like I didn't want to make that putt to win the tournament. But like I think, yeah, if Ganon missed the island, I probably would have laid up and then just thrown it on the island and then laid up from like 35 feet or whatever, and then it wouldn't have mattered, obviously, too. So
well, the other shot that everybody was talking about this weekend was obviously your ace. Hole 14? No,
13.
sorry, not for 13. Yeah, 14 is the water hole.
The short one, the new short pin.
Yeah, the new short pin on 13. First question is, what exactly did you throw, and how soon did you know it was going in?
I threw a DGA Surf. So that's actually our brand new putter we released last season. And it flies super nice. It's a little bit slimmer than the Steady BL, so I feel like it comes out the hand a little bit cleaner, just for me personally. Especially on those like putter shots off the tee. I like throwing the premium plastic off the tee, and I feel like that Surf has a little bit narrower of a field than a Steady BL. The baseline white putter that I threw on 17's upshot in the final round, that's actually a D-line Steady BL, so that's kind of like a more baseline plastic that I enjoy throwing floatier shots with. But off the tee in particular, I like that Surf. Gives me a little bit more of a punchy flight. And it flies actually a lot like a mid-range for a putter. It's kind of a fast putter. So it's a little bit slimmer, a little bit faster of a putter. And so, yeah, and that premium, I think it was like a Glow, Proline Glow, and it had the old Midnight Flyer stamp on it. Sullivan Tipton did a run with Ledgestone, I believe it was, with the old Midnight Flyer stamp with the S on the front for Soli and Surf. And I think it just came out super clean. I mean, the plastic feels amazing, and I started throwing it, I think, at Ledgestone. Yeah, that's when I picked it up. I was at that tournament. I've been throwing it since, and it's been fantastic. So yeah, I kind of knew the angle. Like I said, I've been focused on hitting my angles a lot. So when on that hole, I was just like, don't throw it too hard, because the day before I threw it way deep. I was like, yeah, okay, we don't need to throw this hard. I was trying to land it 30 feet short of the bucket. I was just like, snap it flat, just hit it flat, let it float down there, and don't throw it too hard. So all I did was I took a smooth shot, I hit it flat, It hung out to the right side. It just stayed in the air, and everybody was calling it to go in. And I'm like, no, don't go in, because it's going to go past the basket. Like I don't want to. I was trying to land it short. My game plan was land it short. And then all of a sudden, I saw it. I saw it just rise. It just stayed in the air just a little bit, and I'm like, okay, now go in. Like now go in the basket. It just blew up, and it was sick.
I love the stamp. Honestly, I saw it when you pulled it out. I was like, oh, that's the old
so
Midnight
epic.
Flyer stamp. It's such a
throwback action.
such a classic.
Well, I'll follow that. I've got another different question, but I'll follow that one first, which is, at all disappointed that Missy gets number one spot? Did we see you on SportsCenter at all? I honestly couldn't find anything when I went to look, just on the online versions. Did your ace make it on any SportsCenter at any point?
Did Missy's get on?
She was number one.
She was number one on SportsCenter
That's
the
what
next day.
Yeah, somebody texted me the next morning and said Missy's ace was number one on SportsCenter.
Wow.
And then I announced that on the broadcast, so I hope it's true.
It was, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. No, no, I haven't heard anything. It probably didn't get put up, but no, I mean, good for Missy. I mean, that's her first tournament ace, so I mean, that's pretty epic for her. I know that's a pretty tight and technical hole, so to skip it in on that is pretty sweet. No, mine was pretty electric, and that's a memory that I'll hold on to, whether it was on SportsCenter or not. That would be a cool bonus, but hopefully at some point in my long career that'll happen. I mean, I've literally, my 3 aces on tour are 17 at USDGC, 7 at USDGC, and now 13 at Maple Hill. So it's like 3 pretty legendary holes to get an ace on.
Yeah.
And like, SportsCenter hasn't been calling my name, so hopefully eventually
Next time, skip
hopefully
it in.
eventually we can get something going.
None of this crap throwing it in from the air. Like
Yeah.
it didn't even hit the ground. I mean, what's so special about that?
I mean, the bonus of going on to win the event, so to speak. I mean, to get the ace and win the event is also pretty cool when it's all said and done. There's 3 or 4 other aces out there for the weekend, but not 3 or 4 other winners. So my last question related to the actual golf, because then I got a lot of other questions, but the actual golf. What were the 2 things? There's 2 pivotal moments in the final few shots prior to your decision making. 2 other major pivotal moments were Ganon's tee shot on 17,
Eek.
and then eventually later Ganon's par putt that doesn't go in on 17. What were you thinking after both of those shots took place by Ganon? The tee shot and then eventually the putt for par. What were your thoughts?
I think it was the same as, I will say there's one thought that creeped in after he hit that tree on 17. So first, that one thought I had was, there it is, go win it. So that was kind of like the first thought was like, that's your door. That's the door that opened, was I'm in birdie position, he's not, and we're tied. Boom. That was my opportunity to at least go up 1. So that was that first thought. But every hole before that, whenever there was a stroke swing, it was, he's his own player, I'm my own player. We were swinging strokes all around. So it was just continuing to find myself and what was in my control and everything else. So, I think it was, so that one thought was the only thought that creeped in that was different from the headspace that I had been carrying throughout the day. And that was, be chill. Whatever happens from his side of things. Just continue to do what's in your control and don't react. Just don't react. It was just like, because I think not reacting isn't just because, you don't want to portray something to the fans, but it's also good for yourself. If you can not react to yourself, it won't allow your mental space to get out of control and then try to calm yourself down. And then you're like, oh, wait, but now you're too stoic. You got to like show some emotion. It's just like, if you just stay within yourself and not let anything of what anybody else does affect you, then you won't be getting in your own way. So yeah, once that happened, it was, okay, yes, that was the first initial thought. Let's go take it. And again, same mindset. Go focus on your upshot. Go focus on your next putt. Don't worry about what he's doing once again. Then the putt happened. We got up to the green. I said, all right, you make this for your birdie, carry 1 into the 18th. And I was like, all right, we'll see if he can make this though. I mean, 2 would be pretty nice, And then he chains out that left side. And I said, okay, cool. Doesn't change the putt in front of you. Like, still got 25 feet. Let's go put it in the basket. So that was the only headspace too, was just, again, Ganon did what he did, and I still had to step up and do what I did.
I'm calling on the Statmando crew at this point. There were 12 holes you guys exchanged strokes that round. 12 out of 18.
Oof, that's a lot.
Yeah.
12 of them.
I would love to know if there has ever been more holes where strokes have been exchanged. Like, we understand someone could exchange 3 strokes in a single hole. That's not what I'm like. 12 holes, 2/3 of that round went back and forth. That's amazing. That is an epic. From a viewer side, maybe a little more stressful on your side. From a viewer side, you can't ask for a more exciting round than that. Because I'm not going to lie, when I watched Ganon park it on 14, I thought, here comes the Ganon back. Like, he's just going to rattle off the last 4, and unfortunately, Cole's going to end up in second. He's going to, it's going to be whatever. My jaw hit the floor when he hit the tree on 17, but an amazing round to just sit and be a spectator of. And first of all, thank you for being part of that. It's great. At any point, did you feel like you were out of it? Like, whether it was 14 or, even before that, or did you always know you're like, no, I can keep up. I've got this.
I definitely thought after 12, after I kind of left an upshot high and inside I kind of fluffed my upshot a little bit on 12, and Ganon was in pretty solid position, and he ended up getting the birdie and I got the par. And it felt like I had worked so hard to get back to tied for 11 holes. I was just trying to stay tied. And then to fluff that upshot from perfect position on hole 12, that was a little bit deflating. I was just like, dude, come on. Like, what the heck? That was kind of the first moment where I felt like I let myself down that round. Because every other hole before that, I was just like, okay, whatever, move forward. Still a lot of golf left. Well, hole 12 is crunch time. And so, like, I fluffed that upshot, and then he got a stroke, and I'm like, okay, like, that little pep talk to the self, like, dude, come on, like, don't give up. Like, what are you doing? So I get up the hill on 13 and get on the tee, and I pull that drive. I'm like, dude, you've got to be kidding me. Like, you fluff your upshot on 12, you give him a stroke. Now he has a 60-footer for birdie on 13. You have to stick this close. You cannot go down 2. So then I pull that drive, and I'm like, I get back to the bench, and I'm like, I actually give my chalk bag a little bit of a punch, and I'm just like, dude, that was not okay. It was very frustrating. So I got down there and made a good upshot, and then, obviously the craziest thing happened. He missed his putt from 60 feet because circle 2 and in is his circle 1. So I kind of just expected that one to fall. But no, it ended up being a rough comebacker, and then he just kind of handed one back to me, taking that bogey there. And kind of once that happened, I was like, okay, you're not out of it. So then I get to 14, and the craziest part about that was that was like one of the worst shots of my round. I was a shot that I was leaving inside every single round. I was visibly disappointed for round 3 and 4 about the release of that disc out of my hand. And I was just tired. Like, I was just feeling a little bit tired. And I just had to continue to tell myself, dude, lock in, bro. Like, you literally have 5 holes left of this tournament. Like, what are you doing? Your legs are tired. What are you doing? Your arm is tired. Like, keep going. Like, dude, don't give up on yourself. Like, that, just don't give up on yourself. Like, who cares about what everybody else thinks? Like, just give it your all, no matter what the result is. And so, I left that one inside, and I knew Ganon was going to birdie. He'd been playing 14 like a G, literally, for the first 3 rounds. So as soon as he went up on one on me there, that was kind of the frustration on 14's tee. And I didn't think I was out of it. To say I ever thought I was out of it is not accurate. I think it was just, I continued to make it harder than it probably needed to be, especially through holes 12, 13, and 14.
It's valid. Like I said, I never thought you were out of it. I just assumed Ganon was going to make that run. Like, okay, cool, because we've seen so many times where Ganon just dominates a back 9. He has that
shuts everyone out.
He has that switch where it's just like it feels like once he connects, it's like, oh yeah, this is how I birdie everything, and he doesn't give you a chance. And thankfully, obviously, he made those mistakes and gave you a chance. I'm done with golf questions.
And honestly, Maple Hill gives a lot. There's a lot that can happen down the stretch. 16, 17, and 18, they're all swings. I kind of banked on 16 and 17 being more of the swings than 18. His stock forehand on 18 was pretty solid all week. So I knew too of like only being one back after 14. I'm like, you birdie 15, you got a real good chance to pick one up on 16. So I was kind of banking on that one having to be the one where I made my move.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, speaking of banking, nice little paycheck. And not little at all. In fact, I think 15K. I'm hoping and assuming DGA is going to throw on top of that for some kind of bonus action. I'm going to complain if they don't.
For reference, Terry, $11,000 you had won up until 3 weeks ago. Well, maybe 4 weeks ago, depending on a week off. The last 3 events, you've won $27,000. So you've more than doubled your first half of the season.
He locked in, as the kids say. These
sure,
days,
locked
is what
in.
he did. So with this extra bank, whether it's now from specifically MVP or just in the last few weeks, what's been the splurge, the treat, the thing you didn't think you were going to do or buy or go or pick up, the experience, the new whatever? What's been the splurge since some of this additional winnings have hit the bank account?
Not too much, honestly. I think the first big splurge was taking all the friends out to dinner that Sunday night. That was really fun. Had Ezra and my caddy, amazing caddy, by the way, for 4 days. That was awesome. Having her on the bag, Team DGA teammate as well. My good friend Ty Love back home in Oregon, took him out to dinner. Luke Taylor, tour partner during the season, and Emily Weatherman and Robert Burridge, just kind of all of them, specifically, and so many other friends, of course, on the road as well. I just absolutely love everyone, but those in particular just sticking through the injury and the rocky part of the year. And I love spoiling my friends. I find, I just enjoy, having a good time with my friends. And so like, taking everybody out to dinner, that was such a pleasure. And honestly, that was probably the biggest splurge. I mean, I went and checked out New York City today. I bought a hat and a keychain, but that was only $11, so that was hardly a splurge.
What kind of hat? What hat did you buy?
Yeah. Dude, I bought this really cool black hat with the NY on the
all right.
bill. Not a Yankees hat, but it's just kind of fresh, I just feel like
sure.
it's just
It's clean.
New York hat.
It's
yeah.
clean.
So
Yeah.
nothing too special. But yeah, no, nothing really bad. I feel like I just kind of, money aside, it is super nice it's super nice, but it's like, that's not what it's about. It's about the fans, it's about the friends, it's about the community. It's just about the people that I've always had around me. And, sharing a meal with them was honestly that was my splurge. I will say I turned 21 yesterday. So it was my birthday.
Yep. Happy
And,
birthday.
today I bought my first ever bottle of wine. So
What'd you get? What'd you get?
Was it a bottle or a box?
He can
go bottle now. He won.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it was I live in the Willamette Valley of Oregon, so so many vineyards out there. So I was just hanging out in New York, and we were about to go back to the ferry to head back, and there was a super fancy like alcohol store just to the right. And so I walked in there, and I saw some like Oregon wines on the shelf, and I was like, wait a second, maybe I could grab one. So I looked over there, and I found one from a winery that's literally like 20 minutes from my house, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just get up.
That is all the sign that you needed, is to go in there and to be able to find one, representing your home state.
Do you want to know the easiest way
Absolutely.
to buy a bunch of your friends dinner? Call Ganon on a time violation.
Oh,
warn him.
Oh,
there's a whole crew of guys that get a dinner whenever Ganon gets a time violation.
That's true.
just wait for hole 17. Would give time it like 31 seconds, and then be like, you're welcome, Ezra. You're welcome, Isaac. Then you bought them all dinner.
Even though Ganon lost, at least they all still got dinner, so that's good.
It sounds like a good deal. Yeah, I would say so.
I took him up on it.
New York, I saw the post today. First time there, and doing just the all too common touristy sightseeing.
Times Square kind of.
Yeah. What did New York? What did you? I saw you at the World Trade Center, but expand on what your New York visit was like today.
So much fun, honestly. Yeah, we hopped on a bus and just kind of rode those double-decker
Yep,
touristy
yep.
buses. So just kind of chilled on one of those, saw all the skyscrapers. Yeah, my first time to New York City, so that was super cool. One thing that made it really sweet was while I was home and missing D-Glow, I was able to watch the US Open,
Mm.
tennis. And
Hmm.
tennis is a newfound sport that I absolutely love. And Carlos Alcaraz has been my favorite player for a little bit now. So watching him win the US Open and then obviously some, shots of him celebrating in New York City afterwards, it kind of had me reminiscing back in being in New York City right after winning the MVP Open. I was like, hey, I'm out here kind of celebrating in New York City just like I was watching at home, about a month ago.
Uh-huh.
So I think that made it all the more sweeter. But yeah, no, I hit the World Trade Center, and went and got some really good pizza. My chiropractor that sponsors me back home sent me a really solid recommendation. Just this little hole in the wall that's been around for who knows how long, like
Hmm.
100 years or so. It was just super bomb New York style pizza, and then yeah, I saw the Empire State Building, saw Times Square, and yeah, just enjoyed the day. It was a blast, first time.
Perfect. You
That's
did all the things, and you've got plenty of times to get back there, whether that's for Broadway shows or comedy, and so many of the other things. Obviously, all the art and everything else that it's so well known for. What a lot of people are taking the week off and finding their way down. Some people are finding other events to compete in. What does it look like for your travel schedule for over the next few days, and when are you getting to Rock Hill and all that stuff?
Yeah, so tomorrow actually I'm driving 10 hours to Charlotte. I'm playing the Carolina Clash A tier this next weekend, before the
Okay.
USDGC. So I was not intending on taking a week off. For me too, it's a little bit of like I'm feeling healthy now. I got good rhythms and routines. Like I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep playing, regardless of the results. So yeah, I feel good, so I'm just gonna keep going.
give Schwebby our love. We know he'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully Germ gets down there at some point. Did you see the post by Germ today? It sounds like he's stranded in Connecticut,
Oh, I saw
something with
something. I
his
didn't
trailer,
look into it.
and stuck at a Home Depot, and needs some help. So if anybody's
Well,
in
there's-
that area,
If there's a place to be stuck, it's Home Depot, right?
yeah,
They got
until
everything.
the manager comes out and tells you he's not allowed to keep his trailer there because his truck's broke down. I don't know. He's
Oh.
struggling.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
What
I might
is
have
what
to
is
reach out to him. I mean, I'm not too far, but
Yeah, what
yeah.
is touring like? What's your mode of transportation? How are you doing that right now? And are you traveling with anyone else?
Nope, solo bono, doing it on my own. I have an RV. I purchased in 2022 at the end of the 2022 season.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in RV by myself to Class C for the last 3 years or so, and then last year I added a car to the mix. So I was towing a car behind it, and then that car broke down, so I ended up buying a new car, which is now a Mini Cooper, and that thing is so much fun. It's unique, it's fun. It's a manual.
Oh,
It's like a little go-kart heading around
Mm-hmm.
town.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, just in a 2023 Class C, towing the car behind it, rocking by myself, and yeah, so a little bit of the bachelor lifestyle, but it's fun. I just feel like you're able to lock in a little bit more sometimes. If you're on your own, it's kind of just you making your own motivation and locking in with what you need to do, making your own schedule. You're in full control of your meals, and
Mm-hmm.
I cook a lot. I feel like I cook most of my meals as well. Pretty consistent breakfast and dinner routines as well. So I also added a cold plunge to the mix. So I'm taking that to every campground and stop where I'm going,
wow.
setting that thing up. So yeah, just kind of making it my own little, just my own little world. And hopefully someday, we'll add a wife to that picture as well. But for right now, just trucking along myself.
Is that
Yeah.
an inflatable cold plunge of some sort? Like just you blow it up and fill it up with
Uses a
water?
garbage can.
Stick it just.
Yeah, it's a super nice material. It's what they use for like paddle boards and stuff.
Oh,
So it's like a super durable inflatable material. So yeah, I got this pump, so I'm just like, going crazy with this thing, pumping it up every single time.
they do
It's a
make electric
workout, let me tell
pumps.
you.
You know that, right? Like you can just
Eh,
click.
I
He wants the workout. Look at the guy.
Yeah,
He's working out.
I know. He's, look at
Dude,
that.
honestly, it's really nice for the
Yeah.
the traps up here, dude.
Yeah,
They're
doubt.
working hard.
Well, and that's kind of along the lines too. When I think of Splurge, I mean one of the famous stories, Nathan Queen, when he wins the Tour Championships, goes out and either buys or fixes his RV or whichever it was at the time. But I got this fixed, or I decided instead of this style of RV for next year, I'm gonna upgrade myself because I got an extra 10 or 15 grand or whatever. Like those are some of the things that come to mind too, in terms of like, I don't want to call it a windfall, but this sudden extra money that you didn't necessarily count on. That's why I wondered if there was anything maybe even in the practical zone that you splurged on, or something you have your eyes set on.
Definitely. I got a coolant flush on the Mini Cooper. That was cool.
There you go.
Now you're
Yeah,
adulting. Now you're adulting.
I know, not too pricey, but it's something there. I think usually at the end of every year I have to do a pretty major service on the RV just with how many miles I put on it. So and obviously with the Mini Cooper as well. I mean, that thing's pretty high on miles. So I'd say maybe not right now have I splurged on those practical things, but I think they will begin to come up, and I'm just happy that they will hurt a little bit less.
Yeah, there you go.
If we're lucky, we'll get to talk to you later this season. But if we don't, I have to ask, we're coming into the final portion of the season, and we're going to start talking contracts. You are, as we discussed, the last 3 events, third, first. That has to look good for your contract. Are you a free agent after this year, or are you in a steady relationship with DGA?
A steady BL, a steady DL, BL.
It is technically a contract year at the end of this season. I've had nothing but amazing things to say about DGA. We've had an amazing relationship. They've always taken care of me and just been super kind and in support of whatever decision I've needed to make on the road for my health. And I mean, it was kind of funny. Actually, it was after Ledgestone we had a conversation, and I was considering, coming off the road after Idlewild for the rest of the season. Idlewild was going to be my last tournament for the rest of the year. And they were all like, well, why are you playing Idlewild? Like, if it hurts that bad at Ledgestone, like, just come home and to come off the road. I'm like, well, it hasn't gotten worse up to this point. I've just been playing through pain, so I'll just do one more. And then all of a sudden Idlewild happened, and they're like, oh, okay, all right. So yeah, it feels a little bit good to, prove them wrong and, go back and heal up and come back and play as well as I have. But yeah, going into the off season, we'll see what happens. But I got a really good relationship with DGA, and to be honest, I hope to stick around, and they've always treated me well.
Good.
That's fair. Tell Scott Kesey when you talk to him that he owes us a bottle of wine too.
Yeah, at least we know Scott Kesey before you were born. I guess that's how we could word that.
There's pictures.
It's
not good.
They were on digital cameras, not on phones. Let's put it that way. I totally forgot what I was going to ask you. Gosh, what? I know I was just thinking something along the contracts.
Well,
go ahead.
I'll ask a question about Eliezer, your caddy. What type of communication do you guys have back and forth? Someone had mentioned on one of the chats, they're like, I don't think I've ever seen Cole say anything to Eliezer during the round. Is she there as just strictly kind of to carry your discs, or do you bounce questions off of her? Like, hey, what do you think about this? And what type of shot? Where am I? What's the score? Like, how is that caddy player relationship between the two of you?
She is very good at not letting me know where she's at. She tells me that she is very nervous, that she's like, I just don't want to mess up your flow. But every time I look at her, I'm just like, does she even care? Like, I can't even tell like how she looks.
She's good. She's good then. She's quite the actress.
Yeah, that's. You had said yourself, you're like, when you like, just keep it to myself, don't show, like, and she's got that down. You don't even need to help her with that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we've been friends all season. I've been helping her a lot too, just with form and stuff like that, and just trying to help her elevate her game. She's got a lot of talent, obviously, but yeah, we're just trying to work through some kinks and stuff. But yeah, just I think for right now, she's great on the bag. I mean, she doesn't make a sound and just it just walks up the fairway and holds the bag on her back, takes some weight off my shoulders, and that's that goes a long way for me. I take it fully upon myself to be successful out there. I know every shot I need to throw. I know the mental space I need to have. I need to know the scores to understand the situation, and so I don't put any of that on her. I take it all upon myself, and that makes me be. Honestly, it's just like I appreciate you holding the bag. I appreciate you being here as a friend, supporting me, but I got it. And I don't want you to feel like it's your fault at all if this does not pan out the way that, we envision it. Like I am the one throwing the shots and I'm going to be the one calling the shots. So just you being quiet and holding the bag, that's the perfect flow that I'm looking for. And, maybe if I did have a caddy that, knew my game in and out super well and like, they caddied for me every tournament and every sound that we had this super close relationship, like a Brad and Yuli or a Ben and Ganon, like, maybe there'd be a little bit more banter there. But when Ellie and I talk, it's usually about maybe what happened during her round and something funny, or we're talking just about life in general. So.
Okay. Yeah, because every player has a different relationship with their caddy as far as how they want their caddy. Paige Pierce famously just will grab people out of the stands and then ask them like, hey, you think I should go for this? Like that's and that's just Paige. It's just a different mentality for everybody. Ricky has a pretty steady caddy that he bounces things off of and gets him to the tee on time, hopefully.
Too soon.
Oh, sorry, too soon. But yeah, I was just curious how that how your particular caddy player interactions were. So that answers quite a bit, which is why people don't see you chat with her regularly while you're on the course. So that's great.
Yeah. And then what do you learn when maybe you're not trying to learn anything? Maybe that's even a bad question. We see you out on the course watching other teammates, sometimes caddying, I think. I don't know if I've seen you caddying, maybe, but yeah, we have. I've seen, and I think back a couple years ago, you were, I think of a tour championship, I believe, watching teammate Katrina Allen out on the course, so on and so forth. What is it when you're going out in the mornings? What are you getting out of that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think that's something overlooked by a lot of people as well, how valuable it can be to get out in the morning and do something productive before your round. I think for me, I love, especially if I'm more particularly nervous for a round in the afternoon, I think it's good to get out there and see the course before you have to attack it later that day. Just kind of envision the shots for the day in front of you and get a little more perspective of them because honestly, when you put your head on that pillow to go to bed the night before a big day, every gap becomes so small in your head and you're intimidated by every shot you're going to have to throw 12 hours from then. So getting out in the morning, seeing the shots, seeing how big the gaps actually are, and just calming yourself down before a big afternoon, I think it's really useful. And at the end, you get out, you get to do something productive. You're outside, breathing fresh air, walking around, helping somebody else, thinking through shots, just kind of warming up the body and the brain. I think it's really important. And I would have been doing a lot more of that this season had I not been injured. I really enjoy doing that. I hope to do that more in the future. I actually was able to caddy Katrina into a preserve win, I think 2023.
Yeah, okay.
That was really a really cool moment. Really cool moment for both of us. And just I like supporting Team DGA members as well, and just especially the younger crew on tour, just helping them feel like they have support out here, and yeah, a lot of value.
Yeah, and you may have been at a tour championship as well, but now that you say it, the preserve sounds. I remember seeing you out there pretty much every round, thinking, "Hey, he's got to go play." Now, I guess I'll reverse the question, which is when you are caddying, is it different with every player, or in the sense that
do you find it difficult to shut up?
Yeah, they're asking for advice. They're not asking for advice. Are you just basically a mule that's carrying discs around and that's it? Like, what are some of those relationships like when the bag's on your back?
I think the important thing as a caddy that I wish more caddies would do is just ask more questions. I feel like caddies often just like think that they need to know the right answer to give you proper input on what needs to happen. But it's like if you can just get the player thinking, it can actually do a lot where they can find the answer themselves. So what I try to do when I'm on the bag is just like when, especially like if I'm caddying for Ellie, like she'll pull out a disc and I'll be like, so like what about like not like questioning her and
Are
like
you trying
why
to
the
throw
heck
OB?
are you doing this?
Is that what you ask her? No, I
no.
see that one. You're
Yeah,
trying to
no.
go in bounds or not?
Well,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
it's like if she pulls out a disc that I'm just like, I don't know why you're throwing that. I'll just be like, so like what I'll just like I'll just maybe I hope I has to sound a lot better when we're in the round. But I'm usually just like, where are you aiming? I usually just say like, where are you aiming?
Okay. Yep.
And then she'll tell me where she aims, and I'll be like, okay, are you like, what angle you thinking about hitting this thing with, or just little detailed questions like that. And then maybe I'll be like, well, if you're planning on doing that, maybe this disc could actually adjust to that a little bit better. And so it's kind of like, I want to understand the shot that they're about to throw before I give input on maybe what disc they should throw. But usually when I see them out of the bag, I kind of know what they're trying to go for and whether, I've already played out all of the percentages in my head. So it's kind of fun. I get to ask questions and I feel like I really only give the game plan changing input when I have a good understanding of what they're trying to accomplish. And I hope that makes sense because she's actually sitting right here.
Yeah,
staring
I
me
was
down
gonna
and
say
talking about it.
you
Yeah.
just spoiled it for Eliezer. The next time you're like, so what angle are you? And she's like, you don't like this disc, do you? I know you, Cole. I heard you on
Yeah.
Smashbox.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
No, I like it. It makes me think that if I get to the USDGC and if I caddy for Nate Doss, I just can't wait to be like, oh, okay, you're trying to go out of bounds here, aren't you?
Yeah, a buzz here?
Really?
Oh, sure.
Do you have that kind of power?
What kind of angle are you putting it on, Nate? Like, yeah, this is gonna be. I can't wait. We Cole, if you have a little bit of spare time at USDGC, please go and just film Terry and Nate Doss doing caddy
We're
work
throwing fists out on the court.
by hole 4.
He's punching me out. He's like, "Why are you asking me?"
Yeah, that should be great.
Sorry. Okay, now this kind of does lead to what I was thinking before, and I do ask this of a lot of people, especially after I worked a particular weekend. You've been busy. It's been your birthday. You're doing way cooler things, but have you gone back to watch any of the live or post? And if so, where did the commentators, myself included, of course, where did we get it wrong? Outside of questioning you on 18, but have you watched any of it? Was there any key or pivotal moments where you're like, those guys are so dumb? Why are they? I wasn't thinking that. Has there been any moments that you've relived?
I feel like there is one. To be honest,
Okay.
I didn't go to bed till 2:30 a.m. after the tournament
Yeah.
Sunday night because I went through all of coverage after I played a glow round at Maple Hill after the final round.
Wow.
Yes.
So I went and got Mexican food, and then I came back, and it's like our tradition. Myself, Ganon, and Luke Taylor and Ben Kenny, we all go play the FPO layout in the pitch black with glow in the dark discs.
Nice.
And so it was a blast, but I didn't get back till like midnight, and then I'm like, okay, now I gotta watch the live. Now I gotta watch the coverage. I skipped through a lot of it. I usually just skip
course.
over to my shots. But yeah, I didn't go to bed till like 2:30. So yeah, no, I've watched all the live. I watched all the Jomez on the drive down to New York that next morning. And honestly, there wasn't anything. What gets a little bit annoying sometimes is I understand you guys are trying to create drama in the booth, and so it's also just like, okay, it's not that deep. Like we're not thinking that far ahead,
Okay.
Like so I think it's just like I think sometimes what happens in the booth is they talk a lot about the scenarios that will or could play out, but as a player, you don't really think about that stuff at all. And then like I think sometimes the commentary booth will be like, yeah, maybe he's thinking about, the next few shots or the next few holes and how this might play into effect. And honestly, that doesn't really happen a whole lot. Like
Okay.
I am so laser focused on the next shot in front of me that I can't. And honestly, as soon as I start thinking as a player, I instantly shut that down and I'm like, no, we're not there. We are here. So, when I'd say the only critique I would ever have for commentary is kind of making an assumption that the player is thinking ahead.
Mm.
And that like I'd say like and maybe that's different. For me personally, I'm always keeping it in the moment. I'm always
Sure.
keeping it in the moment. And whatever has happened is now in the past, and whatever will happen is the next shot in front of me. So, and maybe there's other players who maybe don't have that mindset, who do think ahead, do think out and play out the scenarios. But yeah, those are really the only things that I really feel like I would have changed was just, and I can't give any specific examples, obviously. So maybe you might not have even done that. It was just kind of like, that's just a common thing I've noticed in the past with some specific things looking over coverage.
Well, I remember
Yeah.
Terry, you had said last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, playing with Climo at one point, and Climo, he'd be on hole 2, and he'd be thinking about hole 7 because it ran parallel to hole 2 about the wind and whatnot. And so maybe that's kind of where some of that type of stuff comes from. Certain players are probably thinking, maybe in their off time or their down cycles before they're waiting for their next shot, like thinking about other shots on the course versus other players who just, like you said, you're laser focused on your very next shot. That is prime for you because you don't know what's going to happen in 3 holes. So yeah, interesting.
No,
Go ahead. I will say just real quick, I like that a lot because you're thinking about a later shot. You're not thinking about a later scenario of like,
okay.
like this. What I mean by scenario is like the dynamic of how many strokes are between you and the player next to you. You're thinking about a variable that could affect a shot later in the round. You're not thinking about, oh, what if I'm 3 back of him at this hole at this time, and what if I have to throw this shot because of this scenario? It's like, whoa. That hasn't even happened yet.
Sure.
So, yeah.
No, I love the clarification. I think as a good rule of thumb, whether it's me or anyone else, I agree and understand entirely when you say you're worried about the next shot at hand. And enough players do say that to us. Like, all I care about is my next shot. I'm not worried about anything else except for what my next shot is. So I think that's great for all of us to keep in mind. And I guess one clarification I'd love to make with you, because I feel like it has happened to us personally as players, even at a much lower level, is early in the round, whether it's a drive or probably more so the first hole or 2 when it comes to putting. Is there anything to be said about making that first 30-footer or that first 15-footer? Would you rather make a 30-footer for birdie on hole 1 versus having a 3-foot tap in just because that 30-footer actually instills a little confidence early in your putting stroke? Those are things we say, but I'd love to hear it from you. Where does confidence get built early in the round?
No, that's a good question. I think I'd rather have a tap in on every hole.
Sure.
I mean, if I birdie a hole, I want it to be because I'm in the bullseye. Climo said it best a long time ago. The best putter's your driver, or something like that. So like, I don't. For me personally, it doesn't affect my confidence on the green if I haven't putted in a few holes because I'm keeping it close. I'm just like, sweet, just keep putting it close. Awesome, just taking some pressure off. Whatever. Maybe for some other players it boosts their confidence, but it's like I've already warmed up my putt. Like I've already thrown like 60 putts before my round has started. So it's like, what's there not to believe in the next 30-footer that comes up next to me? But I think especially in the beginning of the round, I think the dynamic of like watching another player make a big putt, knowing that their confidence is not be spiked. I think there's some dynamic for maybe me who is parked and they just made a 30-footer and be like, okay, dang, their putt's feeling good today. I got to make sure mine's feeling good for the next time I take a putt. But, yeah, no, that would be really the only dynamic that I feel like would change with that.
Okay. Well, let me just publicly say this because I've said this to plenty of our players. If there's ever a time where any of us get it or are getting it wrong in the booth, and it's either reported back to you or you've seen it with your own eyes or your own ears, do not ever hesitate to reach out, because I think I speak for all of us that say we want to be accurate, and we want to be doing the best job possible. So if there's, like I said, it ever gets back to you're like, the conversation you guys had on hole 13 was so, wrong, for instance, or 12, or name any hole. Don't ever hesitate. Like, I want to know.
Just reach out and say, hey, dummy, this is what happened.
Do not hesitate. Plenty of people have no problem correcting us that don't know what they're talking about. So when you do know what you're talking about, I especially want to hear it. So that's an open-ended invite, at least for me personally, in any scenario. So just please know that. And I mean it genuinely.
Absolutely. Well, and I appreciate you saying that, just because I feel like that's kind of how the sport is going to just need to continue to grow, is, like everybody needing their open mindedness to how they can improve and do better. And, I appreciate you extending that. And honestly, like, I appreciate, what you guys are doing and trying to learn the whole commentary side of the game as well. I mean, I just feel like especially starting up this live coverage. I mean, there's only been live disc golf for like, 6 years now. So it's like all these new rules are coming into play. But also, I think it depends on, again, what kind of a person you are. For me, there might be a situation where you guys say something that I'm just like, that's totally wrong. And then it's like, forget about it in the next 20 minutes because it doesn't really affect me. And at the end of the day, what happened on the course is what happened on the course. And, it doesn't affect the rest of my life, whatever you guys say in the booth. So, for me to like come out and actually send you a message of be like, bro, what the heck? That was not right at all. I don't feel like that's something I would personally do because it wouldn't affect me where I'm like, okay, I'm actually got beef with this person now.
No, I know. And I again, though, but I do say it in the sense that I would hate for me to ever be, just 100% incorrectly projecting or assuming or implying something that you just find like dead wrong. And because if I've said it once, there's maybe a chance I do it again in another scenario. So that's why I'm saying I would be always up for it, and you would never have to feel offended or worried if you did say something to me. I also totally agree that anything that's being said while we're blabbering on is not something that you're losing sleep over either. And I can appreciate that because you shouldn't be losing sleep over what we have to say. But anyway,
that's why I love breaking down hole 18 too. I love breaking down hole 18 like on the podcast and stuff too, like the decision making there, because I'm like, I know what I did and I know the mental space I was in, so I love that I get to talk about it.
Yeah. It's good because obviously, like we talked about earlier, there are so many different ways to approach that hole and different mentalities and where you were versus, I hear one of the things that always bothers me personally about USDGC, hole 17. I've seen players in positions on hole 17 where, in my eyes, I think, you could lay up. You could throw it 35 to 50 feet up ahead and then pitch onto the green, take an easy 4, maybe even a 3, and you hear players say like, well, I didn't practice that, so I didn't want to throw it during the round. And I always scream in my head, you're a professional. Why aren't you practicing that? Like, in my mind, I think for hole 18 at Maple Hill, you should be throwing it from where you think your drive's going to be landing. You should be throwing it from where you think you're going to pitch up to, where you're going to miss and go OB. Like, these are all practice shots that a pro, in my mind, should be taking. So when I hear someone say, I stuck to my game plan because, I didn't practice the layup shot on 18, I think then you're not doing yourself a good service on that particular hole. Now your approach is totally different. You're like, no, I'm confident. I knew I had strokes to give and like that. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But that's what I think when I hear other players talk about, well, I didn't practice that. It wasn't in my game plan. It's like, your game plan should be a little wider then. Maybe expand your scope just a hair, please. So when you get to 17 at USDGC, practice the layup. Just do it.
Yeah, you might need it.
Well, I've aced it, so I'm just going to keep trying to do that.
There you go. Or that.
Yeah.
You've got it
just
in one.
Cup
so,
it. Yeah. Like, I aced this.
Yeah.
I just keep throwing.
Keep throwing
I've
until you
aced
put
this
it
once.
again.
So, backtracking a little, a question was asked about sponsorship. We already kind of went over that, but I'm going to go a tangent of that, which I usually do ask, which is there any additional sponsorship that you would love to pursue or have someone address you? Because we've seen shoes, chalk bags, carts, and all the accessories. I don't want to limit it to just those. Sunglasses, you name it. Is there any other sponsorships that you're like, that'd be pretty cool if company blank reached out to me? Is there any of those?
Dude, I've been an Adidas lover my whole life.
Oregon.
I
Yep.
started with soccer. I started with soccer. I moved to basketball. Lillard, Damian Lillard, Portland Trailblazer. I mean, fully Adidas guy.
He's back too, so
Yeah, I've just 100%. Like the Dame basketball shoes are my favorite. So throughout soccer and basketball in my, childhood sports, just wearing Adidas has just been, something I've always loved to do. So Adidas is kind of the dream sponsor for me. It's kind of nice they've already had the foot in the door with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully at some point later in the future that might be a possibility. But yeah, I have some agents that I work with as well, so they're always really great at reaching out to certain people that have interest in also like um, just some like health brands as well, maybe like supplement brands. I feel like would be kind of a good one. I love promoting, physical health. I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
extremely important. I think that's something that's, overlooked in the game of disc golf a little bit is just how important it is to take care of yourself and your body. I'm so grateful to have a chiropractor that sponsors me and takes care of me, Oregon Sports and Family Health back home. They
Mm-hmm.
do a phenomenal job and help keep me healthy. So just having those endorsements is always something that's extremely beneficial as well.
Uh, and I don't want to make it awkward, but has someone like a First Form, have you had conversations with them, or is there even a competitor to them, or someone like that? Is that in the realm of someone that would be of interest to you? I don't know everything about First Form. I just know they have their foot in the door clearly, and they're supporting
yeah,
disc golf.
they're sponsoring Worlds next year.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, no, I mean, I'm open to anything. I'd love to have a conversation with anybody who's interested, and I know my agents, I'm sure would love to also have a conversation with them. So, yeah, I mean, anybody who's kind of along those lines that feels like
Okay.
they got something to offer, and have some name brand, and would love to work together. Maybe we could figure something out. But yeah,
Sweet.
I'm open-ended, open to talk to anybody. Yep.
Okay. I love that, and I think that's why I say I really don't want to try and like necessarily pigeonhole. It sounds like if Adidas called you tomorrow, you would definitely be taking that call. But just in general, I like the idea of expanding the scope, and if there was any other needs that you had, because we've seen sunglasses, shoes, obviously chalk bags, and then all the accessories that we have within disc golf. It's pretty awesome to see it. Things keep evolving as well.
Totally.
Anything that would be, again, win or otherwise with this recent success, but anything out of the ordinary to close out your season in terms of your schedule? You're playing this weekend, obviously USDGC, then we have the Tour Championships. But outside of that, is there anything somebody's like, huh? What's he doing?
Do you shut it down after the Tour Championship and wait for next year, or do you go home and play?
Still, hard about this year was trying to play as much as I could to make up for lost time of last year and the injury, which is funny because I really only missed a few tournaments last year. Still came back from Hill and USD, but um, going through the injury this year, I guess I only dropped out of D-Glow, but I just still feel like I wasn't able to put my best foot forward at a lot of tournaments. And so yeah, for me, it's embracing. Aderhold talked about this a while ago too. Is just like embracing the fact that this is my this is my job, and no, it might not always feel like a job sometimes, but it definitely does feel like a job other times. So, just kind of embracing that and understanding that, like, I have I'm grateful for that with the RV in the car, continue to play tournaments and continue to tour. If that means more A tiers at the end of the year because, I got the time and obviously the ability to do that, I'm gonna do it. So playing 4 A tiers, and yeah, I'm just gonna continue to play. I think I'll be playing through the Jacksonville Open will be
Mm,
my last one, and then I'll go home for the off season and hopefully sign up for some winter local, C tier stuff at home. I like playing throughout the winter as well, keeping the body loose and the mindset competitive.
sweet. All right, Cole. We are. You're getting a little choppy. I'm sure. I think the internet's getting tired over there at Ellie's house, which is totally good. We're so great to have the insights from you. Before we let you go, the only last obligations are for you to shout out or recognize any sponsors, and then also any great ways that your fans and supporters can continue to support you, whether it's through the purchase of discs or following or whatever. Sponsors and support. What do you got?
Yeah, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yeah,
Just
we
real
can now.
quick.
Yep.
It's a little delayed. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I mean, every comment on my posts, I look at every single one. So, anybody who drops a comment on Facebook or Instagram or X or, TikTok or whatever, like I'm always, wanting to look at those and like those messages. So thank you guys, all the fans. Yeah, I mean, again, thanks for Ellie for caddying this last weekend. I mean, she's caddied for actually a lot of my rounds this season. So having somebody to kind of carry the bag and take some weight off of the lower body has been really helpful. Thanks to my parents and Brandon back with Oregon Sports and Family Health, with through all of the difficult decisions we've had to make with the injury, and a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, just not really knowing the right answers and what to do sometimes. It just really, it's a really good feeling to see all of kind of decisions we have made come through over these last few weeks. Thank you to DGA for always having my back. I mean, just they've definitely it just totally shocked me with how much just love and support they've given me through every difficult decision I've also had to make. OTB Discs, my retail sponsor out of California, also it's just super sweet to win the MVP Open too, because they're such a big supporter of
Mhm.
that event as well. MVP X OTB Open, yeah, super cool there. Eagles Wings Disc Golf. I mean, just the Christian ministry we have out on the road, and just great Bible studies and chapel services. Just an amazing community of gentlemen and women there as well. Um, yeah, Pound Disc Golf, we're making some really good bags in the game. Most comfortable bags in the game, in my opinion. Local Oregon company, so they've been also great. Levi Buckingham over there. And yeah, I just want to also shout out, like I've created this new online store. It's the link is in my bio, Instagram and Facebook as well. I have an email list there as well, so I'm going to be sending out tips, kind of clinic recaps and newest drops and everything there. So if you guys are interested in anything like that, go ahead and sign up for the email list through the link in my bio. I also have links there to all of the sponsors and supporters. I got my shoes, I got my bag patches, I got my discs on DGA and OTB. So you guys can find all of my stuff there as well. But yeah, that's basically everything. Thank you again for you guys having me on here, and everybody for your support.
Oh, it's always our pleasure to have you on, Cole.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put the link in here. I see your store and your insider, how is it labeled? Cole's insider list and other stuff in here. So I'll put a link in the chat board and then also in the video description for you as well. So hopefully people will go check it out. Again, thank you so much. Congratulations. Happy birthday. I mean, what an incredible week for you all around. And to see what you've done over the last few weeks specifically, even after changing up your form and making all these adjustments to go third, first, and now have two big events in the USDGC along with the Tour Championship to close it out, plus this weekend. But the internet, everybody's excited for it, and we certainly are here. And you don't have to win to join us. You're welcome to join us anytime, but it's that much sweeter when you come on after you've been crowned champion. So congratulations yet again, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys again. Really appreciate it, and hopefully we can keep this streak going.
We're here for you, buddy. All right. Have a good night. Enjoy. Travel safely, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Good luck at the Carolina Clash.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Good
See you,
night.
buddy. Cole Redalen.
Again, maybe the hottest player in disc golf over the last month.
Yeah, it's been awesome to watch. And then I think one of our craziest statistics / graphics of the weekend was the fact that final round on Sunday at GMC featured Cole Redalen,
Mm-hmm.
Paul Kranz,
Mm-hmm.
Ganon Buhr, and Paul Macbeth. 7 days later, Cole Redalen, Paul Kranz, Ganon Buhr, and Ricky Wysocki. Like the odds. If you would have put down
3 out of 4 for both rounds.
3 out of the 4, and again, it was no slight to them, but Paul Kranz and Cole Redalen, both of them.
If you would have told me it was Ganon, Calvin, and Isaac,
Yeah,
or
you'd
something
been
like, I'd have been
yeah,
like,
those are
all
top
right,
4.
like,
No
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have thought like, okay, that is more likely, but with the way that Cole has been playing.
And Paul,
and
being
Paul.
a contender as well. Obviously, Cole, besting of that little mini series. But yeah, it was. I think that was incredible as well to watch both of them play the way they did in these last couple of weekends. And if you're like, oh, this is a fluke, or oh, these guys are just here this weekend, or they're just having a good week, clearly they came back the next week and were very much in the conversation as well. And as we put up the other graphic, in the 70 tournaments that Cole and Ganon have played each other in, where they've both been in the tournament, there's been 70 of them. Ganon came out ahead of Cole 65 times, and Cole got the better of Ganon 5, and that, in the most important fashion, slid to 6 this weekend. So it's I don't know how you what more you could love about it.
I don't like usually to have to correct our guests.
That was cute. That was
6
cute.
years live broadcast has been on for what, like 6 years? 6 years.
That's cute. No, it's okay. He's young.
He would have been 15. Like, is that when he found the internet? Like, mom and dad let him like mom and dad let him go on the internet. You're like, hey, there's this live disc golf thing. Like, Smashbox is going on 11 years.
Prior to us,
there was obviously the Planet, and there was a few other companies that had tried live disc golf. But yeah, I chuckled at that. I was like, they're so young. These kids are so young.
Yeah,
I
get it. It's all right.
I chuckled at it as well.
Okay,
6
so
years.
And along those lines, I am just now getting it that what he has pointed to, which I'm putting in the chat now that I understand it, it's called a Stan store, which shows that I'm a little too old for knowing this. It's called Stan.store. And I assume that's for when you have fans. You have stands.
Sure, you have stands.
I didn't hear him say that. And then I got this very long link. And then when I looked at the actual link, which I just put in the chat, it's called Stan.store/Cole Redalen. So that will get you there. And then also, like I said, I'll put it in the YouTube notes and whatnot. But that's really funny that they play into that. And it's Stan.
Earl asks a really good question that I don't even know if I truly know the answer. What was the very first live broadcast that we saw on the internet?
Well, that's up for debate. So listen up, fella.
Yeah,
no. So
thinking,
technically, if I recall, in an official capacity, Steve Dodge and I think Billy Crump with a laptop and a modem.
Okay, that was the first.
Was the very first ever attempt at showing live disc golf, live moving picture frames, which barely moved. I think Steve's brother-in-law, some relative. I think it was Bob, who was very much a tech guy. And we're talking, 2007, 2008-ish. Attempting to do hook up a computer, a laptop with some kind of a modem,
like a 3G modem at the time,
to then plug in through probably 6 other gadgets and dongles into a handy cam to give you live coverage. That was attempted and kind of officially deemed the first ever live broadcast, if I recall.
I couldn't remember if that came, and I do remember that. I couldn't remember if that came before or after some of the Planet stuff originally done, but if that was literally maybe the very first. I
think that was the first, and then I think right around that realm, somebody would argue maybe there was an attempt at a Players Cup in Florida. I feel like somebody was trying that at one point, in which would have been like 7, 8, or 9. This is all getting fuzzy as I get older, but some of those things. And then Disc Golf Planet in its infancy. And then I think at one point, Bobby Brown, cool Daddy Slick Breeze, also had some attempt that was probably of that same scope and scale. Of like, well, I've got a laptop that battery's going to die in 9 minutes, and if I plug this thing into this thing, there would have to be a little bit deeper dive, but that's along the lines of what I recall.
So we're going to assume right now that the first major broadcast of disc golf was probably the Maple Hill Open, or maybe MSDGC. Who knows what he called it back then? But
yeah. It would have been like an attempt at an MSDGC even or it could have been like a 08 or 7 or 8 or 9 Vibram. Technically,
Sure. Okay.
Maybe if they were that by then, and they might not have been yet. So
yeah, I couldn't. That you'll never get me to remember what years he had what names.
Well, yeah,
that's impossible. All right, let's talk about some of the other players in the division at the MVP Open. Formerly the Maple Hill Open, formerly the Vibram Open,
formerly the
MSDGC.
Open at Maple Hill for 1 year. I was like, and I like that because you could then continue to have it branded by anybody. And of course, he liked that for 6 months, and then he changed it and got in bed with someone else.
No, we love Steve Dodge. All right. Cole Redalen, our guest tonight, wins this, as we talked about, on hole 18 with a phenomenal approach, shooting 34 under par, besting Ganon Buhr by 1 single stroke at 33 under par. At 31 under par, just not quite able to. He would have had to have a really phenomenal round. He had a great round. He would have needed to have a phenomenal round in order to catch those two guys. Ricky Wysocki playing on a hobbled ankle. What an effort. What an effort by Ricky to whatever he had to do to get himself to do that. Shooting 31 under par. The next closest, I don't say they lapped the field, but 8 strokes between Ricky in third and Isaac Robinson in fourth. And Isaac shot better than Ricky that round by a stroke, and it was still 8 strokes back. Isaac Robinson in fourth place with a 10 under par that final round. Luke Taylor in fifth place. Luke just keeps hanging out up there. That's pretty consistent, I would say.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Missy Gannon shooting 1,003 final round. Silva Sarnen and Holland Hanley tied for second at 10 under par. Holland just having an abysmal final round, shooting 4 over par, losing by 4 strokes. Literally, had Holland just kind of mildly kept it together, she would have won. But Maple Hill will do that to people. Haley King kind of showing up out of nowhere, doing Haley King things. She was leading the tournament after 1 round, I believe, and she was in the lead after 1 round.
Did she have the hot round at 8, first round?
I thought she was at 6.
Silva had.
Oh, maybe it was Silva. Maybe it was. Oh yeah, Holland. I think Haley came in early with the hot round, and then Silva passed her.
Yeah, Haley had a 6 under. She was in second. But
You're right. So Haley King shooting 6 under total for the round or for the event, and a 6 under first round. So it goes to kind of show you what happens. And 6 under in round 1 with those conditions. And the weather got nicer as the weekend went on. So, again, Maple Hill wrecks people in weird ways. Haley King in 4th place. 5th place, Owen Scoggins. 6th place, Hannah Wynn. Congratulations, Hannah Wynn. 7th place, Sophia Danica. 8th place, Valerie Mondahano. 9th place, Caden Spurge. Cat Merch. That is your top 10 for FPO. Missy, as we said, getting onto SportsCenter with her skip ace on hole 7.
Mm-hmm.
Round 1 or 2?
2.
Round 2, I believe. Yeah, round 2. So congratulations.
We opened round 3 with it.
Yep. I was a little worried. After everything is said and done, that pond looked really shallow.
Yeah, so without a dock.
Without a dock, the pond looked shallow.
See, that's funny you say that because I don't think it looked shallow.
Oh, I thought it did.
I feel like there was a couple years ago it looked really shallow.
And maybe it was.
So I don't think it looked that shallow.
Oh, I see. I felt like the dock looked like, or the pond looked like it was lower than even normal, even after the storms on Saturday. But it did appear as though we had someone directing them as to the best place to kind of jump, where you had the most depth. And I think I even heard at one point he said, like, don't go in head first. So
yeah,
we don't.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea no matter what, because whether it's 6 feet or 7 feet or 4 feet, all of those aren't good for head first.
No, they're not. So that is the DGPT playoffs, MVP Open by OTB, ex-OTB.
I think that's supposed to be by. And
by.
For what it's worth, there is something clever considering so many events are presented by, or they're in the opening, like Discraft's Green Mountain Championship presented by, Smuggler's Notch or whomever. And it took me a second, but MVP by OTB. I do think it flows a little better, maybe because they're just both the 3-word or 3 letters. It kind of looks, it could look better for graphics, blah, blah,
Sure,
blah.
whatever.
But that's assuming you say by OTB, because I think if you say MVP Open X OTB, that looks and sounds weird. So
insane.
you're going for the by. And after all these years, I finally seem to have gotten it right. So now I'm okay with it. So it means he'll change it.
Yeah.
Now that I understand
Oh,
it.
yeah. Next
Yeah,
year,
he'll
it'll be
change
something
it.
different. It'll be,
So,
I'll guarantee that. The only consistency is change with Steve Dodge.
yeah, exactly. So, and I know I'm just putting it on the board, and maybe it's typically after show fodder, but it's worth saying now. It is funny that we rewind just a few years ago, and with Steve's creativity comes about a bunch of different decisions and change.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that long ago, quite a few, were screaming and chanting and rioting and revolting, and then putting up signs of, Steve Dodge is a disc, which I think meant something else.
I remember those signs.
And, as I just put on our chat board, to remember, like you just said, first of all, change is inevitable. It's not always going to be what you love. It's not always going to be what you like, but you are not always the end goal or purpose.
Yeah.
I know it's a hard reality for some. I'm not saying Steve Dodge has made every perfect decision, clearly, but I would be more likely to, because of my background, because of my experience with him, I'd be far more likely to create a sign that says something like, "In Steve we trust." And nothing for nothing, 99% of our touring players will tell you the same thing. And so I understand that lots of people like to question a lot of things, and I'm not saying you can't question anything. Maybe just hold back the judgment, though. Just a little bit more or a little longer.
Wait to see how it plays out.
Wait to see how some things play out.
Wait.
I'll speak. Of course, I can take my own advice on any given day in that too. But to hear so many, damn near everyone, that is, now praise and continue.
80% of the people that were upset back then aren't even in the sport anymore.
True.
Like,
maybe
we've gone through cycles of people.
But the people that knew Steve and know Steve, whether you've been to Maple Hill or not, the people that know Steve know that we're okay and that Steve's doing big things.
Yeah.
And has nothing but the players in mind. And remember, this is the guy that officially and technically, in every sense of the word, started the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, not everything's perfect. Then again, no organization and or companies are.
Smashbox is.
No.
Other people. Other than us.
We're lucky to start on time 11 years in.
Shut up!
So, no. But... Yes, and all of that to say, Steve is a pretty incredible human, and disc golf will never be able to repay the efforts and the brain power that's come from Steve Dodge, and that's what I'll say about that. And this is coming from a guy who came on our show and fired us.
Yeah,
at one point.
Just
flat out said, "Hey, we don't need you guys anymore. We've got this live stuff covered."
See, you wouldn't want to be.
And at the time, they absolutely did not have that live stuff covered.
Oh man!
And it was a
abysmal,
but it was a blip on the radar in the overall timeline of the last 10 years of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and it is what it is. So, still, you don't get much of a bigger fan than us in Steve Dodge, all things considered. So,
I agree.
There you have it. I figured I'd just quickly say that since I know there was some questioning out there.
Let's move on to a slightly more somber note.
Somber played here in Wisconsin in the rave last night. Did you go? You didn't go to Somber?
No, I didn't even know that was a real band.
Yeah, it's my understanding is it's one guy. I think maybe he's got a band around him, but it's one guy. I only say the irony of you saying the word somber.
Wow.
My daughter, who's 14, my younger daughter, wanted to go with a friend last night to the rave where this gentleman was playing. And the 2 seconds of Googling I did, so I'm sure there's plenty of other people that know, well, maybe not in our demographic, but indie
indie emo kind of old school.
Just for maybe our current day audience, I liken him to like a young John Mayer. And I might be dead wrong with that, but for the 2 seconds of Googling I did, that's what I thought of. Long story short, she didn't. Long story already long, too long. She didn't go.
Because you didn't let her, or they didn't go.
Yeah, plans changed and whatever. And there was a question about do you take a 14-year-old to start a concert that starts at 8 p.m. on a school night? Like
it depends on the
parenting question in the first place.
It depends on the concert, and it depends on the parent, and it depends on the kid. Like if you dropped him off and you're like, I'm gonna wait out in the car, I'll come pick you up when you're done. It'll be 10:30. Maybe 11, home by 11. I think that's okay. My kid plays volleyball, and if their games go long, they start at 7 and they don't get done till 9:30.
Well, he's 16. My question is the 14-year-old age in her.
It's not that much different.
But she's a night owl like me that handles it and then gets up in the morning. So if it were my older daughter, she needs more sleep, like regularly, like really needs it. And she would struggle more at 7 a.m. the next day, as my 14-year-old would be like, I'm ready to take on another day.
The experiences are worth it. Anyway, the somber note I was getting to was Disc Golfer magazine is coming to an end. A year ago, they announced that they were going to discontinue the physical print and you could continue to get the digital. Well, now they're just saying, no one's watching the digital. No one's looking at it. We don't know why we're doing it. It's probably not worth it. By the time most people get this, the content
is dated.
It's just not worth it to continue production of the publication. So the fall 2025 issue will be the last issue of Disc Golfer magazine, Terry. That's it. No more. End of an era.
I didn't read the entire article here. I know it's posted on the PDGA. I see, one thing that jumps off the page at me. It says, even with the $10 fee, the magazine continued to operate at a loss, losing over $160,000 during 2025. Obviously, this is a membership organization.
Yep.
That's a 501. I don't think it's 501c3. Is it a 501c6 or 9 or 4? Maybe it's a C3. I don't know. Either way, it obviously has people to report to. Yes. Even though it is a nonprofit, still has to, show all of its books and gets audited, so on and so forth. And I'm guessing, finally, someone just said, or some people, a group of people at the PDGA. I guess I could just read it. It says, ultimately, the PDGA has a fiduciary responsibility to its members, which means carefully investing dollars in projects that support the organization's mission while providing the best possible service, so on and so forth. So, if it doesn't make financial sense and there isn't an overwhelming enough reason to then still keep it going, I can understand that. And the members, people always say, what's the PDGA do for me? Well, it sounds like they're, in essence, listening to the members here that are saying, not enough of you seem to value this, so we're going to quit spending money on it. And if you just look at it in a black and white sense there, that makes sense. Now, if you're an old school person like Johnny and I that have been getting it, and it felt very much, even way before ratings, it felt very much like one of the key components to your annual membership, and you got this glossy magazine. To me, just purely from a feels perspective, it always felt like it gave us a little bit more credibility and validity. When I go to the annual park and recreation show, when I go to the annual physical education show and I'm at a booth, hosting a booth where people want to come up to me and talk about disc golf, I can pull the magazine up, especially these nice full color ones for the last few decades, pull them up, flip through it, and show them, here's a conversation about course design. Or an article, I guess is what they're called. Here's an article about course design. Here's ads about, all these different products. Yeah. Hey, I'd like to have your school get this level of basket. Here's a $300 or $400 and a $500 version. Here's the one we're looking at. And so on and so forth. Obviously, with representation of showing women, juniors, master's age players, all these people in full color photos in a glossy magazine, I have always felt like it clearly has some marketing. It's a great marketing tool. when it's all said and done, not enough of a marketing tool that it has been worth it. So yeah, feels a little weird for someone like you and I who have grown accustomed to it. We don't read it necessarily cover to cover. Still, even though I didn't read it cover to cover when it came out, I just always loved that it was something that it was an in-hand, especially in today's digital age. It was an in-hand physical asset that you could show someone that was like, oh, they have like a magazine for this. Just like if 20, 15 years ago, somebody came up to you and be like, they have a magazine for cornhole? Like you would probably be shocked at the time. And then you'd be like, wow, I guess this is bigger than I thought it was. Sure. Right? Like, but if it, as DJ Quick once said, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So I guess we'll leave it at that. And of course, others are going to say, I love the magazine. It's another great piece of media, so on and so forth. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of people now speaking up about how they're going to miss it, but it doesn't sound like enough.
The minority.
Yes.
If somebody wants, they can start their own magazine.
That's gone swimmingly. I think 2 other disc golf magazines still owe me money.
I know they do.
For breach of contract in some capacity of sending them money and saying, hey, we'd love to sell you a 1-year subscription. And I've always been a sucker / enthusiast. Sometimes those are one and the same. And you're like, another disc golf magazine? I'll support that endeavor. Absolutely. I will gladly send you the $39 or $49 or $69 for an annual membership. Like, if I could just get it all for a year, sure, sign me up. I think I've done that with 3. No, at least 2.
I don't know, Terry.
There was one started up in California, one started up in Louisiana area.
Fool me once.
And then I think Flying Disc Magazine, which came in really hot and heavy, Flying Disc Magazine, I don't know that they ever had a subscription. At first, they were free. And I don't know if I ever sent them money to have some form of subscription model. So that might be 3 separate magazines I've sent into and never received, like, a
page.
Ever received, version, not version 2, not release to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the second edition, like the next issue. Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for.
So Terry.
Hucker Magazine, you owe me. I'll call you out. Pay me. Especially if you're starting your company back up. Might as well pay off your old debts.
I'm starting a magazine if you want to give me $60 right now.
Yes.
Just throw money at me.
Everybody send me your magazine.
Everybody tell Terry they're starting a magazine.
Just create a website.
He'll
tell me I can pay you.
He'll send you $60. Just that's how you get Terry.
Yes, thank you, Steve. I got there eventually with the word issue. That's the word I have issues with them. It's what I have. Hey-o. All right. Is that it for the real disc golf on the night?
I think that's it.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's it for the real disc golf news tonight. We got to talk to our winner, and there wasn't a lot. Jomez, here, shout out to Jomez, officially at 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's a big number.
I'm right behind it.
Cool.
Subscribe.
Yeah. So
awesome. Yes, very much. Congrats. That's been a lot of years of an insane amount of work and travels and capturing and forever archiving, some of the greatest moments in our sports history. So congratulations to the entire team. And yeah, there's some people that just get on the mics and talk. Dare I say, I think that's the easy part. The camera crews, the editors, the guys that are really grinding it out. Extra special love as a guy that's had to do plenty of editing at a much lesser quality. I will say I forever applaud and appreciate everything those guys have done. So congratulations to Jomez and everyone involved. All right. We can shut this down. I got a couple of random things for the after show that we could chit chat. Well, let's talk about this in the regular show real quick.
Okay.
I'm throwing it out there somewhat generically. Yay or nay, or think about this and let us know in some other capacity. Wild card conversation. Did you like the addition of the wild cards this year, just in general? Like the idea that, 8 players from GMC would then be qualified to get into 8 MPOs, qualified to get into MVP that otherwise wouldn't have, and then 4 players qualifying at MVP to get to the tour championship. 4 players that did not earn their way any other way or via points or otherwise that qualified. And then the follow-up to that is, did you love the 8 rounds being GMC and MVP? Did you love the 8 rounds of us beating that into your face?
I did not love the 8 rounds of you beating it into our face. I didn't feel like GMC it really mattered that much, personally.
Okay.
I know that, we whittled it down to 8 and then whatever. It felt a little bit early. I would love to see either this sort of format expanded somehow into GMC more so. And for MVP, it was a nice side story that we could talk about. I think a couple things I would love to see. Some sort of on-the-fly scoreboard as things are happening on the broadcast. I know Statmando had one. It was a little bit delayed, which not much. But on the broadcast, I felt like it was really confusing as to who was, I'm sure it was for you guys too, as to who was doing what, where they were, who was in the lead, because these players aren't all together.
Yeah,
it's not like they're on one card. They're all
yeah.
over the course. They're all over what's happening, what's going on. Like, we need a better live graphic for that. So it's easier to show, hey, here are the 4 people right now, or maybe here's the top 6. 4 of these guys are getting in. This is the score they're at. These are the positions they're in right now. That's what I would like to see. I think a little bit better communication from the broadcast to the viewer. As far as this format really helps specific players that don't necessarily get a chance to tour or are European, as we saw. Like, there's a ton of great European players that just can't qualify. So if they show up for GMC and MVP, they have a chance to qualify. I mean, I know it's funny because I heard back and forth different things, but I'm fairly certain Maury Vielman was already qualified.
Well, he won an event.
Correct. So, which means exactly. But there was talks early during the round and things that like he wasn't qualified and he was in the qualification. Like, it was confusing. It's like he's already in. Stop talking about him.
But he wasn't. He was.
But what he wasn't.
But the wild card supersedes his win.
Why?
I don't know.
Does a wild card supersede everybody's win? Any
no,
players win?
If you didn't qualify via points.
So the win doesn't matter.
The win does matter. If he wouldn't have gotten a wild card, he would have still been in via his win. But if he gets in via the wild card, then the win doesn't matter.
It's dumb. That's too
I
confusing.
agree.
It's too confusing. Like, again,
for what it's worth.
So that
I agree.
So that is confusing.
Same with Ben Calloway.
Yes, that is confusing, and I don't like it. And it's still I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain on it.
Yeah.
But so having a more clear explanation would be great. But in general, having these players that maybe don't get a chance to tour as frequently, Haley King is a perfect example, who doesn't want to go on tour full time, but is a very good top 10 player. She can kind of strut in and qualify, and now she's in the tour finale.
Right.
So it's perfect for her. I do like that it does reward these players that, that maybe don't get a chance to tour. Now, does it kind of also suck for someone like Ulibarri, who ground out the entire season, didn't qualify, and then gets quote unquote maybe bumped out because these other players are in? Sure, that does suck. And I can understand.
Well, he didn't get bumped though because of them.
No, I know, but in theory, there's somebody did. Like, if we were to take the next 4, if you don't have this wild card position, you just take the next 4 players in the list.
Oh, well, then you're just expanding the list though, for the sake of expanding it from 32 to 36.
Well,
for like the sake of coming up with 36 though.
Don't we have 36 right now?
I think it is 36.
Okay, so right now there's 32, and then we're letting 4 in. It's that, or you take the top 36.
Correct.
Play pretend. So in theory, somebody, because of this format, got bumped out of the bottom. 33, 34, 35, 36. They because of the way this format is, they didn't get in this year.
Yeah, but you could also say,
Mm-hmm.
if we're only taking 28, that really sucks for the players 29 through 32.
Sure.
Like there always has to be a cutoff.
There has to be a cutoff, but I'm saying if you're allowing 36 in, 32 through 30, the people on the tour who are at the points of 33 through 36, they might feel short change because they're like, I played 90% of the events. Sure, I didn't play well at most of them. I'm in 34th position. You're taking 36, but you're taking these 4 randos. And I don't say randos like we don't know who they are, but you're taking these 4 people who played 4 events, but they just happen to play well at these last 2. That's what I'm saying. I could understand if you were in that position, how you could be frustrated with that. I don't agree with it. I think you have a cut and then you have these rules. I'd love to say that we knew all this ahead of time, but I don't think anybody knew anything ahead of time. Sometimes with the Pro Tour, they still haven't announced the finale format. So I talked about
Here's
this.
how I think it's getting played. Okay, I don't know.
I want to say that we know for certain there's some sort of stroke advantage, but I don't even know if we know that for sure. But I think that's what it is. Some sort of stroke advantage for the top players. I don't think it's going to be the same as last year. Again, the only thing that's consistent is that the DGPT changes it every year. So that's what I think. So I don't mind this format with the playoff players getting in. It adds some excitement. It adds some randomness, I would say, which I don't mind. It's just it needs to be clearer for the viewers, I feel like who's in, who's out, why they're in, why they're out. Don't make it weird, like maybe he's in if he's like this, but he's out if he's like this, and he qualified here. Like the Maury Vielman one is dumb. If you win an event, just make yourself in. Lock him in. That's it.
Which he is in. Don't get me wrong. He's in.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Ben Calloway. Yeah, that's so funny because Ben said he's going home, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. Or no, it's his last playoff event of the year. He's still playing this year.
He's still playing.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just confusing myself with a post that he made.
Yeah, he made a social media
yesterday.
post about that.
But anyway. No, I hear you. And
it's confusing as we've displayed here. And partially that is probably partially on us. We should maybe, but another complaint I've always had with the Pro Tour is awesome. You make a post, you say something, you have 16 different social media accounts. Where did you make that information available? Is it on your Twitter? Is it on your Instagram? Is it on your Snapchat? Is it on your Truth Social? Is it on your website? Is it on a memo that was sent out to a podcast? There's too many places. I wish the Pro Tour had something that unified all these announcements or any announcement that they make in general on their website, because that's where I want to go for everything. I understand there are certain social media posts that you don't necessarily need, but blah, 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 blah. That's a me thing. So, playoff, good. I liked it.
yeah, well, I understand that. I think there is confusion. I think that's all of our job within the media at some level. The producers, obviously myself as a commentator, is to try to, as clearly as possible, share what the formatting is and or explain it. And of course, it's attempted. It just sometimes can be really difficult. And that's not an excuse. It just is difficult, and I think we need to find the best possible ways to communicate whatever those rules, details, whatever it is. I am not in TV production. I don't know if that's a newsflash to anyone. I am not. So I can't speak to it for sure, but I personally feel like, and I am the host of the show, and therefore there's certain things that I am to inevitably share. I'm sometimes there's a number of times, and this is again isn't a secret, or is it bad, but I am sometimes just a mouthpiece for what we're trying to convey. As in, I am not making up my own stats or figures or details or rules. I'm simply relaying what is to be communicated. And I felt like we communicated a lot about the wild card positions. And I feel like we did it too much, specifically at the GMC. And I understand you had wild card spots that got you into MVP, so they had to be talked about and we had to explain it. But I felt like at some points, and even then early in the MVP, rounds 1 and 2, maybe even sometimes during round 3 yet. I just feel like we were almost taking away from the event because we're so concerned about the wild card spots. And again, I'm not in production, so I could be dead wrong, and everybody else could say, hey, it was handled perfectly. There was the right amount of, references to it. I just felt at some points I was talking more as if the wild card spots carried more prestige than winning the MVP Open, and they just don't. It's exciting. I get it. That's part of the story. You're talking about people clinging for their last life of getting to the final event of the season that you work so hard to get to. But the person that only attended 7 events that now is just trying to play their way into the wild card that probably doesn't have a chance to win it. And I get it. You can't, that's how you get Cinderella stories. But at the same time, like, I am so much more focused on the continued dominance of Ganon and what Cole's doing this particular weekend and Ricky's injury this particular weekend and so on and so forth. Again, maybe I'm dead wrong. That's why I do ask. I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Like, does the wild card need to be discussed as frequently?
Who knows? Again, next year will be different. The one issue I do have, and this is a me issue, as a lot of things are, I had a hard time caring about the play. I wish what should have been, or could, I hate to say should, what could have been displayed more was what benefit did these players get by getting in the tour? Like, it's $1,000 if you show up, I believe. Like that in the past. We'll just say in the past, it's been like $1,000 if you show up to your first tee, you play the event. That's the minimum. So that would have been good to clarify. Like, hey, these players get a chance to win $15,000 or $18,000 or $25,000, and they get a minimum of $1,000 for making the tour. None of that was conveyed. It's just like they're gonna make the tour finale.
Yeah.
And for me,
why does making the tour finale matter?
I hate the tour finale in the format. Like, I said this last year. I'm on record saying, cool, guess what? You gave Ganon 10 strokes or whatever that number is. You gave Calvin 9 and Ricky 8. You've turned this into a 3-person race, regardless of anyone. Nobody that's more than 5 strokes behind Ganon is ever going to catch that kid. We've seen that. Like, you want to give that kid a boost? Now, that's my take on it.
Everybody be clear. That's Johnny V's
take. That's my take. Other people have different takes on that. That's fine. I get it. But like, so for me personally, I have a hard time caring about the Tour Championship because I feel like it's like, oh, cool. If you want to give these guys a head start, just give them bonuses. Let's make this more competitive. That's my take on it. But I would have liked to have known, like, what is the benefit of getting into the Tour finale other than it's the Tour finale? Like, great. You get 30-second spot. You're 10 strokes behind Ganon, like you are now. Way to go. You might as well just keep playing. Like, that's how I felt. And again, that's a me thing. I just chuckle and laugh and whatever. But I'm hoping that in the next week or so we find out more about the tour finale in general.
I hope so. We do too, because it's only
3
two
weeks
and a half weeks away.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to say it doesn't impact me and my livelihood. I'm going to be commentating on it. So when I get the info, I will be happily sharing it and projecting it in terms of the overall broadcast. But our players probably are wondering what's going on, and maybe they're working on all that. I can't speak to. All right. Well, with that was my only other thought, and I will admit, or I don't want to say admit, I will say that, again, if you have constructive criticisms and or suggestions, somebody sent me one today, or I'm sorry, not today, a couple days ago, who's an avid listener of and watcher of Disc Golf Network, and they brought up the whole conversation, which isn't new, but it brought up the conversation about calling out discs and pros and cons to that and how they feel about it. They're also a YouTube creator and have very insightful thoughts on it. And it was a great email. And I read it. I will eventually reply to it. And then I also will forward it and my responses to some of the other higher ups that make the decisions. And what a perfect way to conduct it. Like, that's the whole point of constructive criticism. And I've been beating that drum for years, but it holds true today. If you have something constructive, now it may or may not get implemented just because it's your idea. And it may or may not, I may agree with it 100%, and it still may not get implemented. Certain things aren't, that's above my pay grade, as they say. And it truly is. But if you've got constructive criticism of things that can be addressed or fixed or things you liked or disliked, share those things. And I guess I'll go hand in hand, and this wasn't even meant to be a plug. Go take the Disc Golf Pro Tour live broadcast survey. It asked you to talk about different
that's a good
commentators
point.
that you like. And it honestly, I kind of perused through it. I didn't submit it last night, but I was kind of looking through it. It asks you a lot of things about the app, things you find that you like or dislike about the app. Things that you like about the different features and price points within the app. There's probably one of the best ways you could possibly let your voice be heard and known is by completing that survey and getting everyone else that watches on Disc Golf Network, Jomez later, or on Disc Golf Network. Go complete that survey. That's what I would tell you to do. Which for some people will work in my favor, probably from a commentator, and for some people it certainly won't, and that's totally fine too. But go complete the survey. That's what I would say.
We can wrap this up and get into an after show, Terry.
We can do just that. I think that's all I had from that perspective. We can share some things. Great junior event going on in Samui in Thailand this last weekend. I want to talk about that and give some flowers for that this weekend. And then we've got other non-disc golf news that we can talk about too. So we're going to wrap it up on the regular show. Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Thank you to Cole Redalen for joining us tonight. Great insight. If somehow you missed his explanation about going for it on 18, I love that he provides an even more detailed version, as he did with Brian in the immediate interview, but he gives a great detailed version. He talks about sponsorship. He talks about, next year, and then also any splurges that he's going to have after this extra bank account that he's stocked up in the last few weeks. So, but
not a bad week.
Hope that you enjoyed some of those insights. Thank you for joining us. We're going to stand down. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll go into the after show. We've got other random topics to discover and to talk about and to discuss. We'll go from there. And we got a giveaway. So for Johnny V,
technically, because we didn't do one last week.
I'm the Disc Golf Guy. That's been SmashBoxxTV Podcast 575. Take a break. We'll see you when you come back. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV Podcast 575's After Show. Speaking of after shows.
Speaking of after shows, yeah?
Not quite. Looking for some continued action. The old Chicago Cubs
That's cute.
Wild. I'm tying this all together. Wild card, tying it. Yeah, wild card series. I think.
Yeah.
Against the Padres, and they took the first game tonight.
Oh, did they? I didn't even see that. I didn't see.
They did.
My team's just kind of waiting for the winners. Because the winner of this one will go up against the Brewers.
Yes. So anyway, it was, again, talked about a few weeks ago. My dog, the pinstripes, whatever, but playing in Wrigley in the afternoon, NL baseball, the pitchers had to hit. Like, that to me, little did I know, was like the purest form of baseball. And then some old drunk guy calling the shots. Holy cow!
Yeah, there's nothing more baseball. Than that.
That's about as American baseball as it gets. So anyway, that's my tie as to how that happened and me becoming a Cubs fan. I'm not a Bears fan, but that's how I became a Cubs fan all those decades ago. So when 2016 rolled around, I was certainly not a Fairweather fan at that point. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. Again, ties our wild card conversations together. Another conversation piece real quick is I think I talked about it here, maybe not, but I was honored and flattered to be featured on the Passion podcast.
Yeah, you told us that last week or the week
and
before.
It's starting to release.
Cool.
And again, just showing us all of our shortcomings. Chris is his name, has like 30 little clips that he's done, like this incredible amount of edits where he's obviously just chopping up some of my long-winded answers, but then putting them into little clips, but then he adds graphics and like takes it, like I answer a question about the Olympics and should disc golf be in the Olympics? I answer the question, but when I reference Ganon Buhr and Missy Ganon, he cuts to a quick clip of showing them at the World Games. Some other ones that you'll see, I think, when I reference celebrations, disc golf celebrations. Mm-hmm. I talked about Albert Tom and the bazooka, and then he cuts to some of that stuff. So phenomenal job, and it's, I'm not saying that because I'm the one talking, but it was a phenomenal job in what he does, the heart and passion and soul that he puts into the podcast and then releasing them, and then to make all these clips and making them more, to try and draw people in. I just want to thank him again. We were actually tying it all together because then we went and did it over at the Dyers Guild Studios with my buddy Dave, is where we shot the podcast. And this guy, Chris, drove 3.5-4 hours just to like sit down in person with me. And he's basically a Wisconsin-based podcast, but he's on the opposite side of the state. So totally flattered. You're going to see me posting about him on social media. And if, dare I say, you want another long hour and 20 minutes of me rambling about disc golf, it is out there, and I'll be promoting it and helping him out to promote it as best I can over the next couple of weeks. So big thanks. It all started dropping in the last few days. So thank you to Chris and the Passion. And some of his guests are crazy, from like skateboarders to professional sports to or other professional athletes to just all these guys doing so many cool things. So yeah, love seeing it. Here, I'll post to his website, and then you can go find where salt and pepper any part of your answers. Yeah, I think that was where one of that question came from when we were going to the music on a few of those. So, what else do we have in non-disc golf or disc golf world? Wild card Cubs. Oh man, I had a really good.
Packers had a tie with the Cowboys.
That was interesting.
Went into overtime, and it's the first time there's ever been a tie that was 40-40. It was a unique number in NFL history. Plus, it's the highest scoring tie of all time, which I thought was kind of just strangely statistic. So, yeah.
Okay.
It means nothing, but
I did get to watch most of it. We were celebrating one of the Bevel co-owners' birthday out in Bend on Sunday night, and he's Justin Selmer is his name. He also got an ace on Saturday and won the MP40 Flex Start version of my tournament a few days prior to that. Then celebrated a birthday. I mean, he was living large, and even though he's from Chicago, we had the game on at his house. The birthday's celebrations were going on, and it was a fun game to watch, just because it was Sunday night after doing so much television, I'll call it, like being live 9 out of the previous 12 days. It was good to just like sit and watch something else. So it was a good time. And shout out, and I should get the name right before I do this, but last night over at Bevel, where every I think it's every Monday night they do a very, very themed trivia night.
Yep.
That must not have been last night. Was it? I don't know. What a night. Was it? It doesn't matter. They do trivia every week, and they had the voice of Lisa Simpson. Actually, she was at Bevel. Is her name Yardley Smith?
Yeah. You might obviously you know her voice, but you might recognize her if you're old. She was in, I believe it was Herman's Head, was the TV show she was in. She's been a bit actor for many, many, many years in many things, but she also obviously voices Lisa Simpson.
Yeah, she was at Bevel Beer, like the actual brewery, and she was there. And she had, I think, recently moved to the area. Let me get some of these details right. She moved to town earlier this year, and a friend of a friend was to Bevel, was helping build her house. And then he let her know, and that she then came out last night for a little while, and she offered to call the final round and was super nice, in fact, beyond nice and awesome. Photos and autographs for everyone that asked.
Very cool.
So how cool. Like, yeah, I am not a diehard Simpsons fan. I know you were for a little while, no?
Well, I mean, I think being...
Like diehard for a little, like,
I would never say diehard. Like, we watched pretty regularly the first couple seasons, but again, Simpsons has been on for 35 years.
Yeah.
And so I was right of that age where I think I've seen every episode of the first 5 seasons, maybe the first 7. But after that, once I got old enough where it was like, I think once I hit like 16 to 17, that just stopped being a thing that I would make time for. So.
Well, yeah. So if you go out to Instagram and you basically go to Bevel's page, you will see it there as well as another gentleman. But yeah, I watched her or listened to her and watched her, call out some of the questions for their final round.
Was I right that she was in Herman's Head?
That I have no idea. I
think she was.
There's some people on the chat that could. Seems like they could. Well, you would think that I could. I just had her Wikipedia up. Let me take a look. Okay. Alongside The Simpsons, Smith appeared in the sitcom Herman's Head as Louise, and had reoccurring appearances as Marlin on Dharma and Greg.
Oh, sure.
And Penny in 2 episodes of Dead Like Me. She appeared several films, including City Slickers, Just Right, Toys, and As Good as It Gets. Off-Broadway stuff as well, blah, blah, blah. So
Dead Like Me, an extremely underrated TV series that was on Showtime. It's so good.
I ain't got Showtime money.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do they even have Showtime anymore? I don't know if they do.
They do at the hotels I go to. Motel, sorry.
Oh, really? I didn't know if Showtime was still a channel. But Dead Like Me, it honestly, that is where my wife and I agreed on my son's name, Mason. He was one of the characters, and I was like, I always liked that name. Like, and that's what it reminded me. My wife and I used to watch it when we first kind of started seriously dating, and we had talked about like just names of kids at some point. I was like, yeah, it's a really good name. So that is where my kid's name, I wouldn't say it originated from there, but that's what spurred the conversation for naming him Mason. It was from that movie. One of the characters' name was Mason. It's such a good series.
Did not watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was at Bevel last night. Apparently lives in Bend, Oregon area now. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, just the fact, like, I can only imagine the requests that that come in, and when you're a celebrity of that nature, to be everywhere. No, but really, we're running this really cool thing. Like how often that must come in for so many people. And I'm guessing she wasn't badgered, but like I said, it sounds like she was super nice to everybody over there.
I think they just announced a Simpsons sequel, the cartoon, like the movie, part 2. I don't know. I don't ever recall really seeing the first one, but yeah, another Simpsons cartoon movie.
Okay, I'll go with that. This is really specific, but I know we have a lot of Midwesterners. Thursday afternoon, doing a little 2-disc challenge with the Rock River Disc Golf Club. Brent and Nora, who many of you have known. Nora has been a longtime West Side player specifically, but doing a little 2-disc thing on Thursday afternoon. It's at a relatively new course called Atlasta Park in Franklin Grove, Illinois, just east of Dixon, if that means anything to you. It kind of splits the difference between, for me personally, splits the difference between where we are right now, Johnny and I, and where Peoria is. It's kind of almost right at that halfway point in between. So I'm going to be delivering quite a few boxes, my disc in a box, over to the facility at the Ledgestone headquarters. I'll be doing that tomorrow, but then come Thursday, on my way back, doing a little kind of like introduction, grand opening, get a couple of discs and a towel, all that kind of stuff, and working with the Rock River Disc Golf Club. Again, Brent and Nora.
That's cool.
Who do a ton of stuff in that area. And looking forward to it. So on the off chance you're around Thursday, I think it's 3 to 6, 9-hole course. It's clearly not intense competition where it's just more of a coming out and have a good time with it. So if that works for you, if somehow you're hearing this in time, but that'll be Thursday, October 2nd. I think October 1st is like in a few hours. In fact, I got to get out of here soon and get a few more of my steps in.
It would help if you got your steps before like 11:45.
I had a busy damn day. Like, trust me, I know. Yeah. At one point today,
we can go for a walk around.
When I woke up, shortly after I woke up, and I had a lot of sleep to catch up on. In all seriousness, because travel Monday was terrible. Travel out to Bend was even worse. But when I woke up this morning, I was notified that my younger daughter, love her, had volleyball tonight and an actual game, and forgot all of her volleyball stuff in the one volleyball duffel bag. My other daughter neglected to grab said duffel bag when she left a little later in the morning. So it was sitting there right in front of the door, and I decided, I don't know when I'm going to get. I'm trying to get at least 10,000 steps in every day, and I thought I'm going to, for the first time, walk to my kid's school uphill both ways.
In the snow, pouring rain.
No, so I walked, but I did. I put the backpack on, walked to the school, walked back. It was about 25-ish minutes each way. I stopped for lunch, actually. That doesn't matter. I didn't get the ice cream. All right, I didn't get the ice cream at the ice cream shop.
Way to go.
I just instead got a sandwich. But yes, and all of that to be said, I didn't know when I'd get my steps in today, and I still am a few hundred short, so it won't take long.
Well, that's great.
But yes, Terry, I thought about this. Like, my day's gonna run out, and next thing you know, I'm gonna have to run out of our podcast at some point. So,
see if we can keep you here for a long time.
No. But yeah, that's been.
Did you get to go to the kids' volleyball game or no?
Yeah. I ended up going. Oh, and then later, one of her good friends, my daughter's, who's on the team, didn't have a pair of shorts along. For volleyball.
Yeah, volleyball shorts. Yep.
So when I went to the game a few hours later, I then, after going home at one point, had to grab another pair of shorts and bring those anyway. And she just had to wait till the start of the game and whatever. But yeah. So even though I brought this bag, it wasn't known that her friend also needed to borrow something.
Did you?
I went to the game. I'm not going to be. It's not mean. The other team was definitely a far lesser experienced team.
Oh, okay.
My daughter already doesn't play on like the top team by any means in JV, so
sure.
But it was a matter of just outlasting this lesser team. And at one point, and I have to have this talk with her. Well, first of all, have you seen some of the volleyball cheers? They probably don't have them as much.
Yes.
I don't want to be stereotypical or sexist, but they probably don't. They don't have the same cheers on the men's volleyball as you.
A little bit. Like I actually had this discussion with my son.
What's the one you hate the most?
They've got a few cheers, and it's not
celebrations.
Yeah, celebrations.
Either or.
So when there's a block, which happens a lot in the men's games,
not nearly as much for us.
All the bench stands up, puts their arms up in the air, and it's like whoa, like that. Okay. There's a you can't do that, which is always a clever one when someone makes a foul or a mistake, like goes into the net.
Okay.
And it's usually that's not so much the chant from the players as more so the fans behind the students.
Okay.
There's one. God, I forget.
Anything for an ace?
There's when they get up and they do something for an ace, and I forget what exactly that one is. But they get up and they do like the crisscross arms for something as well. I told my son, I was like, listen, I get it. First of all, as I've said before,
let's insert old man dad voices here.
My son rides the pine. He's on the varsity team, thankfully. He's hoping to get play next year, but he's a bench rider. There's some really good players in front of him, and he's a mediocre player. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Love him to death, but he's got like a 2-inch vertical, which is apparently an inch and a half more than me now. Him and I were jumping in the backyard and trying to see who could get higher, and he clearly got way higher than me. But he's also 2 inches taller than me. But I told him, I was like, you guys got to come up with like some original like things. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, every team does the same chants when things happen.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that's because they're all on the same club teams in the off season. So they come up with these chants, and then all these kids that are together
dissipate
into these different ones, and they all do these chants. And I was like, you guys got to come up with something original. I'm sick of seeing both teams like do the same chant. I'm like, come up with something new. Or even the kids in the crowd, when a timeout is called, they yell, the kids yell, talk it over, because they're yelling at the other team. Or again, the you can't do that chant. Or
well, at least you're hearing different ones than I am.
I'm hearing different chants. Most of those are from the crowd. The team.
Yeah, we get no crowd. Again,
it's a JV. My kids are on the varsity, and it's really funny because we went to one of our final. It's getting to almost playoff time, and so we went to like one of the final matches, and they're almost like the Maple Hill Open, where you've got the top 3 guys and there's this big gap. My son's team has been very competitive with everybody in their division, except the team we just played, which is Cedarburg, who apparently is ranked 5th or 6th in the state. These young men are so goddamn good. It was kind of disgusting watching my kids' team, which I think performs pretty well, just get massacred. And it's like, I get it, but like, you're all the same age. Why is this team so much better? And it's just sure enough, like it's a different level watching some of these kids spike. And so I had this frank discussion with my son in the backyard. I said, if you want to be better, you need to start working on things like your jump. And that's when him and I were like, I was like, no, you should probably jump like this. And he's like, Dad, I'm getting higher than you. And I was like, I bet you I can get as high as you. Oh God, no. Like he's got
a little more spring.
He's got a little more spring in his step.
He should.
He's 6'8". He's 16 years old. I am just under 6'6". I've got a little bit more extra on me. A little age on him. I was probably about 4 to 5 inches below where he was jumping.
Well,
so
that's good.
It's not horrible, but it should be, in general, he should be better jumper than he is. So I told him, like, we're going to work on like getting you some ups, because that'll help. But yeah, no, it's the volleyball games are what they are. And
it's tough to determine which one I hate the most. First of all, it flies in the same regard of the there's like rally calls in theory, like I'm saying generically. There's like a rallying theme, but then there's just like a celebration when you're getting whooped. Just still feels wrong in every way. It's the same reason why even to this day, and I'm an old man saying this maybe, but the excessive celebration by a wide receiver to have their team now be down 7-40, in the fourth quarter, right? Like you should be excited. You scored a touchdown, but I'll tell you, that's not the story of the game, right? And like
I get that.
You just like you can can a 50-footer and still be 10 over par and be excited.
Pumped. Yeah.
But that's not the most exciting thing, or that's not the most celebratory thing going on the course that day.
What I love about this volleyball team that my son is on is the girls' volleyball team always goes to all the men's games too and cheers for him, which is great. It was a little awkward when, I'm not going to lie, my son's team was getting their ass kicked. And the Cedarburg, which is where we were, their side is kind of quiet. I think they're used to beating everybody. The girls' team is like chanting at the other, is like chirping at the other teams, like, we can't hear you. And we're getting our butts kicked. And I felt weird. I'm like, that's
like antagonizing
them.
Well,
and it's great. I'm glad they were supporting. It's phenomenal. It felt awkward to me. I'm like, we're really losing. And yes, we had like a decent game against them out of 1 out of 3 where we kept it within 5 points, but like you realize with a scoreboard, like,
yeah, exactly.
All they have to do is point at it. But I know it's high school sports. I love it. It's competitive. It's
and
fun
I
to
get
watch.
it, and I'm all for it. I'm
I'll be
not
happy
trying
when
to
I don't
sound
have
like
to go
some
anymore.
old curmudgeon either, and I get
we
it.
are.
But and today in a different form, I saw we actually were dominating somehow. We were dominating our team, and it was clear that we had overpowered this team, and we're about to significantly overpower them, which is not come along often. But one of the celebrations, and this is common, this is not among them, is like some kind of booyah, booyah, booyah ace, and then they turn around and dance or shake around and then sing it again, and then that's everybody on the court.
Oh, wow.
And then the people out of the game, that are on the bench, non-playing, they do the same thing. And I just looked across at the other team, and I'm like, you're getting demolished, and now you're sitting here waiting for this team to stop their celebration.
Yeah, I get
of shaking around. It felt disrespectful.
I'm cool with the bench doing it. The people, I think it's strange that and it's all camaraderie and it's high school, whatever. Maybe it's this way in volleyball. Oh God, I'm so old and so I don't understand. After every point, good or bad,
they all get together.
The whole team gets together.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
but they're doing that at the pro level.
I know. I'm just thinking I get it, giving your buddy a pat on the back. Yeah, you screwed up. Don't worry, we'll get him next time. But it
doesn't every point. And they're so haphazard where it's like you're not even putting any effort.
Yeah, you're just like touching. It's like, I just need to touch you.
No,
I chuckle at that.
Trust me, that got me. I got over that a couple of years ago, and
I know.
The other one that I really know. So it's funny you said that about the timeouts. For our timeouts, every.
I mean, everyone cheers because you're using a timeout, even though they have so many of them.
No, they start with T-O, 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 and then that's it.
Why?
Because they think it's this big flex that the other team's called timeout, and it's so obnoxious
to try to rally.
It's so obnoxious to listen to. They make such a big deal that the other team has to call a
timeout in order to stop the
whatever
trying to ice the team or break them or whatever.
It's too much, and I just, of course, it's like everything. It's like, first of all, don't cheer too much while you're getting whooped, and if you are winning by a lot, have a little bit more grace and tamper back some of the celebrations. And to be a little bit more gracious.
It's not.
There's things to learn there.
Yeah, it's not
That's
often
that
my kid's team gets to dominate, but they did against one other team, and so which is why my son got into the game. And I think I told the story on the podcast. It was literally Rudy, like the movie Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
The whole crowd cheered, the players cheered, everybody was cheered that my kid and one or two other subs got in because they never get in. But I can understand that, and the coach was putting in the backups at some point because he knew they were just crushing this team. But I don't know. I think in general the kids are okay these days. I think the kids are okay. I'm not ripping on the generation.
I know that's all too easy. They are okay. There is, I just think, a little bit they could tamper some of that back.
It's a weird culture.
I don't know,
because all these kids play together in the off season.
So yeah, I get that.
So.
Depending on what team they're on now.
Yeah.
Some of them are in club, but I don't think club cheers are any better. So.
My kid doesn't do club.
So
some coach asked him to do club like a year or two ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And they were like, hey, you want to join club? Like, you've got the height and you've got kind of a good head start. And the guy was like, yeah, you just have to basically do this. When volleyball's over, you just come to club and you do this for the next 6 months. And he was like, yeah, F that.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with that. I want to do robotics and this and that. And the coach was like, yeah, you can't really do that if you're going to join club.
Oh.
And he's like, well, I'm not, my kid isn't going to college for any sort of volleyball scholarship. So he made the right choice. I let him make the choice. He made the right one to stick with, what's up above the shoulders and not.
I would love to, I had essentially nothing to do with it. I'm not taking any credit here whatsoever. But over in Koh Samui at Samui Disc Golf.
Okay,
this
we're talking more disc golf finally.
Yeah, sorry. This
that's fine. It's good.
Weekend, and I want to find the post to shout it out correctly, but this last weekend, there was a juniors tournament, and here are the details. Let me read some of this for you guys. This is awesome. This is a lot of people, including Luke Butch, doing some great stuff over there. But the Koh Samui Junior Championship presented by Dynamic Disc this past weekend was a huge success. Players from 8 to 18 competed, coming from as far away as 18 hours. From lunch Friday afternoon to dinner Sunday night, for those staying late, free meals were provided for all players and chaperones. Accommodation was provided at two local resorts, both with pools that the kids enjoyed. All players received a custom players pack disc, and there was no entry fee. This was made possible by so many generous sponsors who want to see the youth and disc golf grow in Thailand. First and foremost, Dynamic Disc, who continue to support the grassroots disc golf development, and then also a number of others. You know what? I'm going to read them quickly. Pachet, Leo Valdez, Brett Marshall, Kenrick Kerrigan, Robert Decker, Luis Zu Kerrigan, or Lisa, sorry. Greg Tidley, Sheridan Tuberville, Marks Burnett, 24 Chains Disc Golf, John Nodiro, sorry. Ledgestone, OTB Disc, Grip Equipment, Luke Turnbull, Carol Butch, Jack Lowe, Klazix, Lazat Disc Golf, Simon Lazat, Nate Sexton, YNDGC, Sam Castellone, Paul Schrader, and Sharon Jenkins. And then thanks to Frisbee Guru, who took a ton of pics. Again, I wasn't there. I can take zero credit for any of that. I am simply looking to shine a little light on the idea that there was 50 juniors or 45 juniors, PDGA event, all with this hopefully an experience of a lifetime coming from all these different countries. So nice work, Luke, and everyone else there that was involved in doing it. So very cool. And that's part of just one little piece, I think, of the overall growth in places like Southeast Asia, whether that's the Philippines or Cambodia, or in this case, Thailand. There is a ton of really good stuff going on over there to be growing disc golf.
Did you see Simon on his latest blog announced he is building a small course in his backyard?
I did not.
He is now in his new property, it looks like, his new house he bought.
Okay.
And I think he maybe even had a party out there after Maple Hill, or I think I saw some players out and about. It appeared to be a Simon household, that he's going to have probably 9 baskets, about 5 acres, 9 tee pads that can go to, like, each tee pad can go to 3 different baskets, and he'll have like kind of 27-ish holes between short, medium, and longer holes in his backyard. So that's a really cool
and
thing for
when
him.
you short, medium, and long, and 27 holes, are we talking, like, does he have like 20, 30, 40 acres? Or does
5 acres.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah.
So it's going to be like 9 holes that you play
like a
at 3
tiki
different
course, so to speak, or
kind of. It's a slightly wooded,
which I'm all
area.
about, and is clearly right up Simon's alley.
It's good. It looks like it's going to be a legitimate, like, woods kind of course.
Awesome.
Imagine like a Ben Askren's area.
Okay.
Similar to that, where you could have a very short course, but also you could play 9 really longer holes, because it's going to be doing that. So you could check out his newest podcast or his newest vlog or whatever you want to call it, and he goes through it.
Sweet.
I'm not gonna lie. I listened to the first couple minutes and then started fast forwarding 5 seconds. It was a lot of him chatting in the woods about the different course, and that I don't really care about the course itself.
You just rather see like the finished product too.
I want it. I don't care about his mentality of why he's making holes where. I think it's cool that he's doing it.
Sure.
I don't need to know all those details personally. And then I listened to some of the other part of the podcast. So I also skipped through. He was playing pool, and they showed like an entire pool, him going through pool, and I started skipping through that as well. I was like, it was a 37-minute vlog that I think probably could have been 22 minutes. So, and I love the Simon stuff. So take that for what it's worth.
Out on the board, RDBS, how is Ben? I didn't listen to it today, but usually he's pretty spot on with having what he calls a mental Monday. And he has some usually very insightful aspect or component, things that he's applied in his life, and or like I would, I guess, liken him to like when I sit down with my kids and we're like, hey, we're gonna have a life lesson. He has what he calls mental Mondays. He's been doing them for years on his various socials, and I saw that he posted one today. I didn't, or yesterday, I guess. I did not click on it and listen to it, but it, by the looks, just literally the looks of going out to any of his socials or him coming through, like it looks like he's putting on weight, which unlike me, he's trying to do, and which is very good. And just reading that, he posted it yesterday. He said update and a mental Monday, fix versus growth mindset in teachers and coaches. So obviously Ben and his brother won an entire coaching academy in terms of wrestling, and with all the successes he's had, clearly he's a guy that one could learn plenty of things for him. So all in all, hope things are good. I haven't talked to him and it's been a couple months now. I certainly didn't want to in any way worry about disc golf or anything, even though we are kind of working on a project together in our neck of the woods, so to speak. But at some point here, maybe during the slowest part of the season, I'll reach out to him. If there's any good updates, we'll see what's going on. But yeah, seems to be doing all right. I don't know that I got a heck of a lot more.
Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV if you want to support this podcast. You can do so there. That gets you a weekly entry into our giveaways. We're going to do 2 giveaways tonight. Once again, that's patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Terry Miller, we have, what's that? That's not the page I wanted. There it is. Random.org. That's the site I'm looking. We have 101 people eligible for our giveaway tonight, Terry Miller. We're going to draw 2 numbers. So how do you want to do this? What number should we generate?
We got to do 2 of them.
We have to do 2 of them tonight.
So I think for no real good reason, I think the first one should be 3. I guess I was thinking if we needed 3, we could go 3-3-1 for Cole's last 3 events. But he took 3rd for a couple weeks in a row, so I think we generate the 3rd number, and then the very next one after that will be the next number.
So the 3rd and the 4th. All right, so our very first number is 88. Our second number is 29. Our third number is 27. 27. Let me find out who that is. It's sorted by first name tonight.
Earl, I haven't heard 6-7 in a couple. Well, I haven't been around much.
Kids are already out. No. Darren Ack. Congratulations, Darren Ack. You are 27. Boom. Mark, highlight you.
I like it. Real quick, Serenity Hope Madison, incredible ambassador out in the California area, who you'll see all over and also on the Instagram, celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to her. And one of our beloved own Smashies, who we haven't seen or heard from in a media role in a few years now, and we miss him on the mics daily, and that is none other than one Robert McCall celebrating a birthday.
He was on
today.
Bobby Brown's podcast just a few months ago. Just
but he's
checking
not
in.
Like
not that doesn't count because it's not us. So.
Yeah. So, but miss you. He's good. I don't want to imply he's not around, but miss you. He's not actively.
Rest in peace, Robert.
He's not actively involved in the disc golf media scene, is what I'm trying to say. So. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Our very next number after 27 we're going to generate is going to be our next giveaway. That is number 70. 70 is the giveaway.
Number 70.
Let's scroll down to Mike Rikus. Mike Rikus. Rikus.
Either. Yeah.
Either way. You win, Mike.
It's tricky, as he says. Thank you, Mike, for jumping on and supporting us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll get. I'll get your information over to Terry. Terry will reach out to you and get a good shipping address, and we'll get something to you. I get to give Terry these 2 shirts tonight and the 2 discs. So those were the ones we pulled out of the slightly wet boxes that were in my basement. They have been all washed and
now they
cleaned.
can be yours. They've been touched by Johnny V's hands
and my washing machine
and just
dryer.
Yeah. So they went from being a little bit wet or damp from being in a giveaway box to then ultimately into Johnny V's washer, then into his dryer. And then if you're a Smashy that's been with us for more than a week, he then would also take that shirt, put it on his pillow as a pillowcase for one night, and then we took it off, and now I'll send it out.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone needs just a little bit of drool.
Johnny V night drool.
Yeah, just
like that's a special kind.
Yeah,
the Johnny V night drool.
Well, of course.
Like there's day drool, but there's night drool.
That's totally different.
So,
yeah,
you lucky fellas that have those coming from a few weeks ago. I can't wait to go hunt them down and be like, hey, here's what you've been waiting for.
Yeah, I got to get up early tomorrow because we've got a plumber coming to the house.
Sometime
between 8 and noon.
Will you be here? Sure.
Yes, I will be, Terry Miller. My wife will be gone. It's going to be one of them. Doesn't get any better.
Just you and the plumber.
Just me and the plumber.
Okay. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do.
You know what? It's life.
Yeah.
Got any more than feet pics of Ricky?
Maybe. I don't know if everyone...
I think there were some people that did not appreciate that. Like there was like, maybe the hair on there a little too long. I personally didn't care one way or the other. I just thought it was funny.
Oh, the actual pic or the comment I made about those being OnlyFan pics?
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh, yeah. When we showed, I said, there was his initial picture of the sprain that he posted. And then that morning he posted another one and we went to that shot, which I honestly didn't know was coming up. And I said, I thought this was bonus content on his OnlyFans or something like that.
See, and I had made a joke on to somebody that, I usually pay extra for these.
Okay, well, there you go. So unfortunately, we're not original in that sense.
No, of course not.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think I had anything genuinely out of line this weekend. I'm trying to limit those. Now, jokes that don't land or that you cringe at, that's fine. But I don't think there was like any that were over any standard lines. So,
no, you had a few.
So I had no fun.
You had a few puns.
Yeah,
obviously.
Those I had. Some better than others, but.
Yep. When Missy missed something, I heard you say like she really missied that or something. Or,
yeah, there was one time where she missied the line.
Missied the line.
Something like that. That was the only.
That was subtle, but I caught it.
Yeah, and to be fair, I know Sarah and Ian have, and others certainly have used, less Missy Gannon, more Makey Gannon. I can appreciate that. But I got to go a little different. My favorite one of the weekend, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, geez.
Is Paige got off to a hot start.
Okay.
She got the first 3 holes out there.
It's a great start.
Nobody else did that all weekend, ultimately on the FPO side. But she was off to that hot start and then gets to hole 4, the short downhill. She misses it. And then right next to her foot, the camera just happens to pan over and there's a little gnome there. Mm-hmm. And I say something about that's strange because we know usually Paige is a go big or go gnome kind of putter or something like that. And that was my favorite. I don't know where it came from, but it came into me at that exact moment. And you can like it or not. I don't care. I'm going to say it and have fun with it. So I guess that's the best part. That's the whole Adam Sandler, I've got the mic and you don't. Plenty of people, I'm sure, cringed. There was one. It was not that one. It's a major success when I get Val to like lose it, which is very rare, right? Like
She's a
As
professional.
she should be, yeah.
Yeah,
As she
unlike
should.
you.
There was, and I don't remember what comment I made this weekend, but she absolutely lost it. Like, if she's got to mute and then continue laughing, that's a personal satisfaction that I can enjoy as well. So there was one of those this weekend, so I'd have to say that was probably the highlight for it, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you got Val. Earl says you got Val with one of your dad jokes. There was one with the frog when Silva knocked it over. Yeah, and I said that she hit the frog on 5 on the back of 5, and just like it was just like a little statue type thing, and knocked it straight over. And then she was doing something wrong. And I said, "Oh, that was riveting action or something like that." But
I like it.
anyway. Artie's comments weird out there. I don't know what that means, but I think we can go keep moving. I think that's about all that we've got. Unless anyone else has anything, type it in the chat in the next 20 seconds. If you don't have anything that we need to address, talk about, or further explain, or beg for your favoritism, then I think we can call it. But this weekend will be kind of a weekend off. Of course, we'll probably talk about the Carolina clash or whatever's going on. We'll talk about that a little bit next week.
Professional disc golf, so to
there's
speak.
there's not an elite series or NT, so to speak, or NT elite series or major going on this next upcoming weekend. So
there's no NTs either. So
I know that too.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, we could quickly talk about it.
Andrew says, "Can anyone name a Bad Bunny song?"
Here's the funny, like I couldn't. And I'd like to think I'm in with a lot of not in. I try to stay relatively like around current pop culture. I couldn't, but as I said to Nate and Val, because that announcement was made during the Packer game, and then we were driving home later that night and had that conversation. They couldn't either. That definitely doesn't surprise me. Val,
we're old,
might be able to. Yeah, and we're a little bit older, not in that demographic. But here's the deal. Here's what I'll say. Tell me the last effing time we ever had anything remotely close to a unified consensus of any form on a frickin' Super Bowl halftime show.
Well, nobody likes
anyone. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, there's just no. You name every artist.
I think the last
last 25 years, and I will tell you, there was a huge swath of people that hated it, and that's because we're a very diverse country.
We are, but I think that the Super Bowl where they had 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, I think that one was more. Everybody kind of understood. The reason why we have a problem here is because, in general, Bad Bunny, while he's a very huge star worldwide, he's like literally the most streamed artist in the world. A lot of his stuff is Spanish. You know, it's and that's not hitting our pop stations. And it's so a lot of people are going to be, but I mean, he was on, the only reason I know of him is because he was on Saturday Night Live like 2 years ago. So that's where I heard of him. And now he's going to open up and host Saturday Night Live, I think. Or maybe he's just the musical guest this Saturday, maybe even. And I don't know, he seems like a fine enough artist. It's not my style, but again, but then again,
sure,
like you
line
said,
him up.
But like for this, you'd have to probably.
I could name 50 other artists that also aren't your style.
Yeah,
that's my whole point.
The only artist I could ever see that I enjoy that would play the Super Bowl would probably be Pearl Jam.
Sure, like, and there's plenty of people that would hate them.
Yeah, like
or not know who they are.
Yeah, like other than that, I was like, I can't think of another band I like that's still around that would be big enough to play the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like that's just that's my take on it. I don't know what other pop artist is going to do it. I mean, there was hints that Taylor Swift was going to do it, but that clearly didn't pan out. So I'm sure Bad Bunny will bring on some other star that you've heard of, or that maybe from a song you know, or it'll be some sort of medley of songs that you have no clue what he's saying. It's similar to like Kendrick Lamar. Like, everybody knows who he was. I couldn't name a single Kendrick Lamar other than Not Like Us. I couldn't have named any other one. I've heard his music.
And even before that, you probably... I may or may not even have known him.
I couldn't name a song, but I listened to some of his stuff because he was so big and huge and popular. But then again, I can't name a Drake song.
Sure. So
and those or The Weeknd and
sure.
like those are all artists for the most part who have done the Super Bowl stuff, and it's just it's not my thing. So
and no matter who you have, there is going to be umpteen million people that despise that artist for one reason or another, and that's my whole point.
That's true. Foo Fighters would be another big one that could play.
Sure, and there's so many people.
Yeah, that could play the Super Bowl that I would like and enjoy. You're right, Foo Fighters.
And tons of people would have no idea who they are and or would hate that style and hate that music. I mean, that again, we are a very diverse nation, and inevitably, I think when it's not, but I will jokingly say it's one of my favorite things of the year is the halftime Super Bowl goes on, and within seconds, Facebook is flooded with worst Super Bowl halftime show ever.
Yeah.
And just the thousands of those comments that get made. Like, you cannot win the Super Bowl halftime show. You just can't. I don't care who you are. You definitely, there's preferences that I have too, but just as many people are going to hate against it. So I guess that's what I thought was funny about it. And I'll admit, of all artists that I can think of, honestly, in the last 25 years, I would say Bad Bunny is the one I know the least. But like you just said, it has so much more international stardom. And is one of the most streamed artists of all time. I think he has 3 or 5 Grammys.
Yeah,
and clearly,
already
just
and this
isn't
shows
a lot of people's cup of tea.
How much I listen to pop stations. He says that Bad Bunny is slathered on pop stations. If that's the case, fine. Then obviously, the people who we see complain are
just going to be a different demographic.
Are going to be
a
different demographic. And again, if he's the biggest artist in the world, he should be playing the Super Bowl. Good for him. Ed Root asks about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They played the Super Bowl halftime show like 15 years ago. I don't really like the Chili Peppers, so that's just my thing. Yeah, if they do it, they should be wearing just a sock. Awkward. Let's see here. Any other suggestions? Michael Jackson didn't have complaints.
Bull. And plus, that was how many years ago?
30.
Before? And if he did, I'll say the complaints just probably weren't on Facebook because Facebook didn't exist yet.
Facebook didn't exist.
I'm sure there's millions of people that hated Michael Jackson. Maybe some or some not, depending on how you felt about what his alleged extracurriculars were. Plenty of people, I'm sure, hated Michael. It's just, again, that's the whole point. Like, there's a million music personalities and genres out there. There's just no way we're ever going to find somebody that. And
honestly, the NFL being as huge as it is so diverse with the people that watch. It's not like NASCAR, where you have maybe a slightly more built-in, like if NASCAR, whatever the main, I'm trying to Talladega. No, the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
If they had Bad Bunny play, I'd be like, that might be a little weird. Might be a little different. Might not be hitting the demographic that they're looking for. But, and I'm just stereotyping because I don't know enough about NASCAR, so don't get on my case about this. But the NFL and Bad Bunny, I mean, that's.
It's been talked about a lot more Latin America viewership, Central America, so on and so forth.
Yeah, they're trying to expand their viewership as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
a growing demographic of people who are watching football. Mm-hmm. So if this provides some of that crossover, it seems perfectly logical. So,
and Edrit does nail it. Prince was probably the best halftime show of all time.
I hated it. I'm just saying that to say that.
Yeah,
sure.
Playing Purple Rain in the rain. Can't go wrong with that.
I don't know. Feels like I'm living in AI or the Matrix or whenever. As long as the rain gets to me on my flat Earth, that's all I care about. And with that, I'm going to call it a night.
Please do.
I've thrown enough out
before we go.
Thank you to everyone that joined us tonight. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers and viewers. Thank you to if you're here week in and week out, we of course appreciate it, especially if you want to chime in and interact in an extra way on the board. It is so flattering to know that people not only tune into us live, but then thousands more download and somehow make us a part of your week. So if somehow you last all this time and you listen to us two clowns yammer on for hours, we do appreciate it. We do it anyway, but we appreciate that somebody else actually wants to sit and listen to some of it. So thank you very much. And looking forward to Looking forward to being back next week. Who knows what's going on, but we'll be gearing up for some USDGC as well as the week after with the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. For Johnny V, myself, along with Cole Redalen in our regular show, that's episode 575. Congrats to Cole and to Missy Gannon for the huge wins this weekend. And we'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.